I think we're live. Let me do a refresh here. Yep, we're good to go. Perfect. What is going on, everybody? Let me take those off. Much more comfortable not wearing a headset. All right. John the G3, what's going on, man? Tess, thank you. Skull Stacks, how's it going? Pedro's in here as well. Vamos. Sí, vamos. I've been picking up Black Bolt, White Flare, and Ascended Heroes. Those are good sets, man. Those are good sets to be buying right now. I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit today. I don't think this can be a super long stream, but talk about the market a little bit. Honestly, I just didn't feel like making a video today. Sometimes editing, just a lot more work, and figured hopping on a live, chatting about the market. Honestly, it's way more fun to do this. It's just something where I feel like if you want to make the most of your lives, you got to be going for at least a couple hours. And sometimes I just don't have a couple hours, unfortunately. I wish I did every day. Jamie, what's up, man? Thanks, Grayson, for your channel. Makes this hobby fun and exciting. Thank you for watching the videos. I don't think that my channel is anything special, but you know, if you get something from it, I appreciate that. Beastie's in here as well. Yo, what's going on, man? Dislodged as well. T Collects here got a Forbidden Light ETB and an Ascended Heroes ETB case recently. Nice. That's a good pickup. I like the Ascended Heroes. Less bullish on the Forbidden Light. Maybe there's a reason that you can expand on why you went that way, but very cool, man. I think Ascended Heroes. I did pull this up. I wanted to talk about this a little bit today. If I can share this tab instead. Man, every day that goes by, I just want to buy more Ascended, which is weird because it's a brand new set, and normally I'm not like that. But yeah, Ascended Heroes is going to be a banger. What's your price prediction on 151 in 5 years? Price per pack? 5 years from now. Wow. $50 at least. Seems reasonable, no? Maybe $150,000 per pack if we moon real hard. This man needs Destined Rivals in his collection, otherwise he'll cry in the near future. I have one box. We're not running with nothing. I don't know though, man. You know, like people did very well on Destin last year in Pokemon, and I'm happy for everyone who did. I went really heavy into One Piece and did also very well, so I can't complain. You know, I wish I got some Destin, but at the same time, my money did fairly well in 2025, so I can't be complaining. DJ's in here too. 22, what's up, man? We're gonna have to do another stream sometime. Catch up, see how the business is going. I don't get around to watching all your content. I can't lie. Just in general, like I hardly get to watch anyone anymore. But I think he passed, what was it, 150,000 in sales? So congratulations. It's a big number. How late am I to the stream? I'm in Australia. Smith, you are early. We've been going for 3 minutes and 49 seconds. So doesn't get much earlier than that. It's so refreshing to watch a channel, that doesn't hyper shill all the time. Yeah, man, I try not to. It's funny too, because I will get comments from people saying I shill. And the real funny thing is, like, when I was invested in One Piece, I still am invested in One Piece, but boom, like 2 months ago, I was making videos on that channel telling people to slow down and maybe not be buying some of these cards at ridiculous prices. And I literally like would have people telling me that I was chilling Pokemon or something. Like, it makes no sense. You know, I'm invested in both games. I try and come balanced, and I'm not always balanced, obviously, but I at least try. FOMO's here too. Popcorn emoji, as always. Thank you, FOMO, for stopping by. Guys, I am curious. Is anyone buying Ascended right now? Should we be going all in on Ascended? Or what about these things? I feel like nobody's talked about these in a while. Charizard UPCs, $180. I feel like this is probably a good price for them. I don't think they should jump to like 250 anytime soon. I was actually going to put these in the UPC update that I did last week because it's been 3 months since these have come out. But when I went to go do the update, there was like 9 pages of these in terms of listings on eBay. And generally after 3 months for a product, we're down to like maybe 5 pages. And even that generally turns into like 1,500 different units available for purchase. So I think there's a lot of these out there right now. That is my guess. I'm gonna have to bite the bullet one day, maybe next time I do the update, and just see what the sales volume's like. My guess is it's very high. I mean, TCG player. Let me on my screen go in here and just look. Um, Total sold over the past 90 days or 3 months. So I think it's weird too because like the 1 month update on TCG Player is 28 days, even though it says 1 month. When you go in there and look, it's 28 days. So I don't know if 3 months is based off 90 days, 84 days. Either way, 4,430 of these moving. How much does that come out to? Like 50 a day ish, maybe a little bit more or less. So that's a pretty respectable sell through on a product like that. But if it stays high for a decent period of time, these will eventually push 200, 250. You guys know the game. You guys know the game. PSA 9 slab better than a raw card? I'm not the person to ask, man. I've never owned a PSA 9. I don't invest in slabs. I don't even invest in singles for the most part. So, yeah. If you're buying them for the same price, I would probably get the PSA 9. Why not? Guaranteed authentication, and it's protected. If you want to crack, you could crack it. But if you're paying more for a 9, I don't know. Not the best person to ask. Forbidden Light is for my ETB sets. Gotcha. Trying to buy back my Sun and Moon boxes I sold off. Oh yeah, I think you told me about that. Yes, when we did the collector with Chuck. Okay, I remember that. Cool, man. That's awesome. What do you have left then for the Sun and Moon stuff? Maybe that was a bad way of phrasing it. Like, what do you have left to acquire again? Probably a better way of putting it. Champions Path sealed ETB cases? Question mark. Not for me. It's gonna be a no for me, Pokey Bankai, but Bankai. I can't do it, man. No, just not a fan. They are going in the right direction though. So um it's one of those things where there's better places to put your money. If you have it though, maybe you want to hold it. I don't know. I always wondered, do you get paid for watch time on YouTube lives? Good question. Yeah, so the live streams are different. I have monetization on, and my understanding, like I can't control where ads go or anything like that. My understanding, though, is there's no ads in the middle of a live stream. It would just be when people click on the video and off the video. I could be wrong about that. But if it's a YouTube video that I upload, if it's over 8 minutes, there's going to be an ad at the beginning, the end, and then YouTube will insert it somewhere in the middle. If it's under 8 minutes, you only have ones on the front end and the back end. Maybe there are actually ads in the middle of lives on the replay. I think if you're actually live though, there's no lives or there's no ads, but on the replay of it, maybe there is ads inserted. That would be my guess. But yes, long answer short there, you do get paid. But it's generally more profitable to just upload a video. So if I go live for 3 hours, if you get super chats and stuff like that, different story. But just in terms of ad revenue, it would be much better for me to just upload like a 10-minute video than do a 3-hour live stream, if that makes sense. Cole's in here too, started to buy more Black Bolt ETBs, also picking up some IRs because some of the PSA 10 pops are so low. Awesome, man. IRs from Black Bolt or a different set? And then I didn't bring up Black Bolt ETBs, but those, let me find them. Give me a second, guys. I'll go into TCG Player here. I'm pretty sure recent sales today were actually over $100 in ETB. Maybe the market price might still be Yeah, market price is 97.84, 98.08, depending on what chart you look at. But we do have sales today, 104.24, 103.99. Like, it's happening. It is happening. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised they're still only like $100. I would have expected with this run up, they'd probably be at like 110, 115 at this point. But I think there's just so many great plays out there right now that some money's being diverted from Black Bolt maybe towards Ascended or 151. Like, I brought the bundles up as well. This is shocking, guys. Like 151, I don't even know anymore. Almost 170 for a booster bundle. And I think recent sales, interesting. Okay, so a couple lower sales today, $89, 125. I don't know if there's shipping on top of that. I'm guessing there's a decent amount of shipping, but 179.99, $175. We had a lot of bundles moving at that price today. Pretty crazy. I would love to stream again. Yeah, we'll do it. Shoot me a DM on Instagram. We'll set something up. I have a special guest coming on Monday. I need to message that person on Instagram and get a photo so I can make a thumbnail, but maybe the week after or something. Hopefully. Things are just so busy, man. And it sounds complainy and whiny, but at the same time, I'm just so grateful. Albert's in here too. What's good, Grayson? That stream with Chuck was good. Y'all should link up again. Yeah, I think we're planning on doing something. I think it was supposed to be this week, but Chuck has a lot of stuff going on this week, so we might end up having to move it again. But yeah, it was a good time. Chuck's fun to talk to for sure. Awesome. I will be a subscriber. Thank you, man. Maker Amp. Appreciate you, bro. Colin's in here too. Semi-regular Profit and Chuck podcast. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. That could be cool. I think there's a lot of space for more regular podcasts in the niche. I mean, you have Alex and Eli going on Mondays. That's cool. I know there's some smaller ones. Like, I don't watch any of the smaller ones, I'll be honest, but some people say they're good. So that's really all that matters, right? And just conversations in general. Always a good thing. Are you Canadian? Just discovered you from the Nostalgic podcast a week or two ago. I am Canadian, Kuramasa. I'm from Nelson, British Columbia, out here in BC. I went to school in Edmonton, went to U of A, but yeah, spent most of my life in BC. I'm guessing you're Canadian if you're asking this too. So if you want to let me know where you're from in Canada, that's cool. When will 151 stop going up, Ken? This is the question, man. That is a very good question. My guess would be soon. My guess. I mean, look at the chart in front of you, right? Let me zoom in a little bit for you guys. Look at that. Up 70% on the bundles in the past 90 days. 6 months, maybe a little bit more than that. 1 year, 162%. This can't keep happening. It can't keep happening. I think I said 2 days ago in a video, the Blastoise looked like maybe a sell-off was starting. And actually, now that I look at it today, it might even be happening a little bit more. It went from 230 down to 189. I'm guessing recent sales. Some going towards 180. So we'll keep an eye on it. I wouldn't be shocked if the sealed starts to slow down this week. Like even the fact the bundles went from 150 to 170, 180 over the past couple days, that's even surprising to me. So I would guess soon. Could be wrong though. Fine being wrong too, because I have what? I do have my bundles here, by the way. 50 something of them for those bundles. Decent amount still. Thoughts on these or thoughts on those first partner illustration collections? So is that like the Charmander one and stuff that I saw on Instagram? They look cool if that's what you're talking about. So yeah, they look nice. I mean, I don't know as an investment how great they're gonna do. Maybe they'll be the next hot thing. We'll see. But yeah, they look cool. That's the extent of my opinion right now. All in GOL. We are all in on Pokemon and One Piece, TCGs in general. Very, very bullish. I just bought 10. Oh, I think you're talking about Ascended here, maybe actually, because I did ask about that. Yeah, Ascended for sure. Like 100% get stacks of Ascended. Adra's in here too. I just bought 10. Yeah, Ascended ETBs, cases, even the bundle. I'm probably gonna try and get a master case of the bundle displays if those are like a fair price in Asia and Europe. I don't know exactly where I'll buy, probably from my guy off out in Singapore. But if they're a good price, I'm gonna buy those for sure. We did have a super chat come in too. I didn't see this earlier. First of all, we'll take the new member. So Tito, thank you for becoming a member, man. Appreciate you. And you did leave a super chat as well. I purchased 30, okay, 30 151 boosters, 8 151 TCG boxes. I'm assuming that's the UPCs. 50 Ascended Heroes ETBs and 20 Mega Charizard UPC boxes sealed, hoping in 10 years I can retire. Lol. Yeah, I mean, look, I think you're saying this kind of a semi-jokingly, right? Those are great investments, I would say. 151 in general, gonna be a timeless classic. Ascended's really looking prime to be the next setup, in my opinion. The Mega Charizard UPCs, those were such an easy buy at like 120, 130. You know, the fact that even I bought some, and you guys know I'm not a huge fan of UPCs that kind of have a hodgepodge of sets inside. So there's like some Journey Together, Surging, Phantasmal, Mega. Like I would rather just get specialty set UPCs or SBCs. So the Prismatic one, 151, it's just one set. You know exactly what's in there. I mean, granted, we know what packs are inside the Charizard UPCs, but I feel like you're only as strong as the weakest set in there too, to some extent, and the promos as well. So yeah, if you bought them at a cheap enough price, such an easy investment. Those will definitely be like 250, $300 in the future, probably even more. I mean, the Charizard UPC is what, 450, $500 at this point. Kind of seems like a no-brainer. And now I lost track of where I was, which isn't good. I want to say right here, 319. D Parker, I bought a case off Flipside, $1,100. Okay. I'm assuming that's Ascended. Which, by the way, that seems pretty reasonable, actually. My cases, I think I got maybe slightly cheaper, like 1,060, 1,070 converted. I'd have to take a look. Maybe it's even a little bit cheaper than that, but yeah, 1,100, like 110 in ETB in a case. That's seems like a pretty good deal. Who still has money left? Choking ass. I don't know, man. That's a good question. That's a really good question. Who has money left? Now, but in all seriousness, like there are a lot of people coming into the space with a lot more money than I have for sure. I mean, that's not hard to do, but there's people coming in with a lot more money than even the people you assume would be like big players in this space. So lots of money sloshing around. I know it's one of those conversations where a lot of people can't really fathom there being people with what's the word I'm looking for? Expendable income at this point, disposable income, but there's some deep pockets out there for sure. And it seems like every day there's new people finding their way into the hobby, whether it's Pokemon or One Piece, Magic, etc. Very good time. Very good time to be on sealed cardboard. Kuramasa asks again, sitting on, or not asking, but saying, sitting on 16 mega UPCs and 16 heavy hitters from Costco. Yeah, that's those are good products. I think the heavy hitters, that's Black Bolt, White Flare, right? If I remember correctly. Those just came out too, didn't they? I feel like last time I streamed, they were in stock and someone was telling me to go buy some. Majestic, hello. Hello to you too. Found you on YouTube today and now you're live. Lucky me. Yeah, there you go, man. And you're early. We've only been going for, well, almost 20 minutes. Honestly, time kind of flies. Time really does fly. But yeah, thank you for stopping by. Hopefully you find the videos useful and, feel free to leave a comment, let me know what you think of them. Appreciate it. Helps out a ton. Skullsack says my LGS has Ascended Heroes for $99. That's a good LGS. I feel like the loose ETBs though, they are coming down in price a little bit. I know TCG Player Graphic, it went down, now we're going back up, but it does seem like there's a lot out there right now, which is good. Means it's a good time to buy. I will be curious to see what happens middle of the year if we do get like a Sam's Club bundle, a Costco bundle. At that point, it's going to be interesting just to just to read like the public sentiment, whether it's on Reddit or in YouTube comments. Because really, like last year with Prismatic, a lot of people were saying you're gonna have more time to get Ascended, buy Sword and Shield or whatever other products people were pumping at the time, Destin Rivals, right? But you can see those ETBs are up to $200. I did pull them up. I can show you guys here. Well, let's call it 190. Let's be conservative, call it 190, but you do have recent sales 195, 196, 197. It's getting close. I'm very excited to do the SVR update in the spreadsheet. I think it's this Friday. This Friday's SVR. So we'll see what the sales volume looks like. My guess is it's going to be a lot lower than the last time I did the update, because I think last time I did the update, these were 150, 160. I don't even know. So yeah, I want to say if they're still over like 15 to 20 TBs per day, buy it now. That would be like a telling sign that these are probably going to run to like $300 by the end of the year. But we'll see. We'll see. The data will let us know. Thoughts on Alex's recent video, like the one he did today? I think because he was talking about buying newer stuff rather than older stuff, and he brought up Destined and what other sets did he talk about? Trying to remember. I mean, he pointed out Chilling and Astral, and I don't necessarily disagree with him. I've been saying that for a couple months now too. Like, Ascended not Ascended, Astral, for whatever reason, people just aren't really that into. And I don't blame people. Like the Machamp, not really a great top hit. You have a decent trainer gallery, but none of those cards are crazy expensive. The other thing too, which I think he brings up a good point about, is that currently Pokemon's been printing a lot less booster boxes. And honestly, a lot of the booster boxes were opened up to like, let's call it Surging Sparks, right? Because they were so cheap. It will be interesting to see how things play out over the next few years, but I wouldn't be shocked if eventually some of these better sets from the SV era overtake Sword and Shield. It's kind of the same thing. Like when you look at Evolving right now, that's a more expensive booster box than Forbidden Light, Celestial Storm, Sun and Moon base. Like age is not the only thing that factors into how well a set's going to do. So I do think that eventually there will be Scarlet and Violet air sets that are more expensive than Sword and Shield. And I think we're at a point where we could have the discussion as well about whether those sets will outperform Sword and Shield even over the next couple of years, right? Like I get age is a thing, but I mean, Prismatic, if you're buying that at $80, $90 in May of last year, you've more than doubled your money. And Sword and Shield in the same time hasn't done that. So yeah, like it's a nuanced conversation, but I tend to lean more towards buying the better sets at this point than simply because something's older. Hopefully that's a good answer. Hopefully that's a good answer that makes sense, semi-coherent. I haven't eaten today, guys. Like I kind of feel off, but I'm trying to lose weight too, so I'm trying not to eat more than like twice a day. And it's almost 4 o'clock here, so I should probably be eating something at this point, but yeah, hopefully I'm still making sense. I am taking your advice, Grayson, to buy a lot of Ascended Heroes ETBs. Yeah, man, that's what I'm doing. It makes sense to me, and I'm willing to stack these to the ceiling like 5 times over if I have to. So if I end up with like 200 of them, like if Pokemon crashes, these go to like 30, $40. I mean, that was one thing I regret not doing was when Crown Zenith ETBs were $30, $35. I bought some. I think I bought about a case worth, but I didn't buy like 4, 5, 6 cases. And at the time, I didn't have as much money, and expendable disposable income too. So that's kind of why I bought less. But with Ascended, I mean, if these ETBs ever got to $30, $40 and it seemed like that was the bottom, I'd probably have to fill like an entire room, honestly. I Like, if they were 40 bucks, that's $400 a case, 30 cases, that's 12 grand. That would be very reasonable for me to do. So, yeah, gonna be buying a lot. I don't think they're ever gonna get to that price realistically, but if they did, I could definitely see myself building a couple forts out of them. Very, very bullish. Destin will be hit big with products next few years. Why wouldn't Pokemon print an insanely popular product for gain? Euro, like that was my logic too with Destined, but the weird thing is we're like what 9 months after release now, and we've got bundles, but no booster boxes, a lot of sleeved packs. Even if Destin gets hit this way and it only continues to get bundles and sleeve blisters and packs thrown in UPCs, those booster boxes aren't going to come down a lot in price. So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping we get more booster boxes. I can buy in at a reasonable price, build a larger position than what I have. But if not, I'm happy just buying more Ascended, and I have a good position in Prismatic. So if I miss out, I'll miss out. But I'm happy to be wrong and happy to be able to buy more. Jonathan asked too, should I buy any Ascended product if it's retail price? Any Ascended product, I don't know. So for me, I actually passed on some 2-pack and 3-pack stuff at my local Walmarts. I was thinking about ripping it, and I didn't want to do it. Um, I'll be honest, guys. Like I much prefer to open One Piece now. I genuinely do. The fact that like pull rates are very similar, but top hits in One Piece are $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 in some sets. Like it's just much more appealing to open that. But if there is arbitrage out the gate, why not? I mean, that's essentially what a scalper does, right? But like if you can buy something for 10 bucks and sell it for 15, kind of a no-brainer, right? At the same time, if you're buying 2-packs and 3-packs at retail, is that going to outperform buying ETBs at $100 5 years from now, 3 years from now? At that point, I'm not sure. I'd probably lean towards no. So I think it depends on what your goals are, what you're going to do with the product. Are you opening it? Are you planning to sell it? Are you going to sit on it for 3 years, 5 years? There's a lot of variables, but for me, it's something that I wouldn't buy as an investment. And to open, I mean, it's a good price to open. So if that's your goal, for sure, buy it at retail. Absolute no brainer. It's not going to be cheaper than that. But for me, yeah, that that's not what I'm doing. Hopefully that makes sense. A question from Humble: was surging out of rotation next April? By the way, it's crazy that surging is rotating out next year in April. Like we're basically a year away from that time. The box is $250. It's in vending machines right now for 161, 64, 43, whatever MSRP is. You can buy it for $200, $220 all day. That set is insanely undervalued right now. But okay, we'll answer the question here. With them rotating out in April, will the reprint of Charizard UPC with different packs did you mean to say will they reprint? Will they reprint the Charizard UPC with different packs or just cut the print run short? Something to think about. Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. It's a real good question. I think in the past, Pokemon has reprinted sealed products like that with different packs. I don't know about the Charizard UPC from Sword Shield era, but they could do that. Maybe they cut the print run shorts. Again, like it's not something that I necessarily care about that much, to be honest. Like, my thesis behind the UPCs was they were so cheap, I'll just buy them. But now that they're like $180, $190, I think this is a much more relevant conversation to have. And that's a very long-winded way of me saying I have no clue. Lauren's in here. What's up? Yes, sir. Hustled when they were low, average $120, got 36 Zard UPCs. That's a great price. Great price to be paying. Like absolute no-brainer. If someone offered you one of those, $120, you have no downside. You have a lot of upside. Great buy. Great, great buy. We had another super chat come in here too. Couple dollars. We'll take this. Go Jago Go or Hago. I don't know if you're Spanish or not. Would you hold or sell your only 151 PCTB? I mean, if I only had one, it would be very difficult for me to sell it. Very difficult. And I understand it's gone up a ton is a easy way to put it, but if you only have one, it's going to be one of those things where if it's 5K 5 years from now, you're going to be kicking yourself for selling it. So, are there going to be better places to put your money? My guess would be yes, just because of the run up it's had. Could be wrong about that, by the way. Like maybe they just keep going and it's like the best performing thing of the decade. Who knows? But yeah, it would be very difficult to try and justify selling your only one. So up to you. Up to you if you live with regrets or not. But for me, I probably wouldn't do it. And again, I've lost track of where I was. Let's see. Whenever in StreamYard, whenever you switch over from live to the kind of like the star chats, it gets rid of like the comment that you were on, which is kind of annoying. Send it at ETB, that one. Okay, we're right here. Peter says hi. Hey, Peter. How's it going? Thank you for stopping by the stream. And then after that, we have another question from Smith. Being in Australia, 151 PCTBs here are at last sold 2.8K. Wow. I'm assuming that's Australian and not USD, because if they were selling 2.8K USD, you'd probably have some arbitrage. Like that seems way too wide of a gap. Could be wrong though. Definitely feel free to correct me. I traded a prismatic PCTB for mine about 8 months ago and has been the cornerstone of my display. Yeah, like I just said, if it's the only one you have, like if I only had one and it was a 1.5, like that is the product. It's like if I only had one Evolving Skies booster box, it would be very difficult for me to sell it. And that's maybe why I got two now. Like I bought a second one. So yeah, in terms of like optimization, our 151 PCTV is going to be like the best performing thing over the next 5 years. It seems hard to say yes, but at the same time, like it is the product of the SV era, or one of them at least, right? So if it's your only one, it's difficult to justify. Very difficult to justify. I don't envy you having to be in that position. Colin says, I have 75 boxes of 151 Japanese 2 years ago at less than 100 Canadian. I have a feeling they're going to be getting some shine on them. Maybe. Yeah, for sure. Like, last boom, people started talking about Japanese, what, couple months after English stuff went crazy. So maybe that'll happen again. I don't know. This feels different this time around though. Like I don't want to say it's less organic, but when we had the Surging release and then Pokemon Pocket came out, it seemed like more collector based hype, in my opinion. Whereas now, like maybe this is a little bit more speculator heavy, investor heavy. That's kind of just the vibe I'm getting. Like maybe I'm wrong about that, but we'll see. We'll see. I hope for you though that does happen. Are you gonna move some, Colin, if that's the case? If they double, do you just dump the position, buy Ascended? By the way, how many cases did you buy again? Did you say 10 off of that guy when you messaged me? It was a lot of cases. A lot of cases. 10 Ascended Hero ETBs, DCA for 95 bucks. Yeah, like it's a pretty good price to be paying on Ascended. I don't know. I'd rather stack up Destiny Rivals booster boxes instead of anything else for long term. I have 3 boxes so far, but need more. Yeah, I mean, Destin's a great set. It's going to do well, so I don't hate that. Definitely don't hate that. Most of it. Let me look for a question. We have one from Tucker here. Out of all the sets that you are currently invested in, what is the one set that you would get out of? As Astral Radiance. It has to be Astral, I think. Like I'm at the point now where I look at Astral. Anytime I have to go to storage and see those boxes, it's like, why do I still have these? Honestly. Um, and you know what's gonna happen is the day that I sell my Astral, they are gonna jump from like 370 to $750. So if you guys want your sword and shield to pump, let me know. I'll sell my Astral, and then the next day, that'll happen 100%. We got Easty and Alive too. How's it going, man? Um, guess it's an early bowl of cereal tonight. Yeah, 100%, man. And you know what? Honestly, no time is a bad time for cereal. No time. We used to eat cereal as kids for breakfast, but now, like lunch, dinner, midnight, like there is no time that is not optimal for some cereal. Especially like if you're eating Shreddies or Raisin Bran or something that's like moderately healthy too. I mean, Raisin Bran probably has a lot of sugar in it still, but dude, like I can justify it. I can get behind it, you know? Even trying to lose weight, I'll eat a bowl of cereal anytime and not feel bad. Should I sell my CN Skyboxes for Ascended Heroes ETBs? I don't know. I don't know, man. It's tough to sell Crown Zenith for Ascended. I like Crown Zenith. Tough spot, Peter. Tough spot. I don't know if I would do it. Maybe. Maybe because I don't like collection boxes, but in terms of what the set is and what the product is, maybe not. Cole asks again, what's your opinion on Black Bolt? I feel like nobody is talking about right now. I don't think that's not true. I feel like a lot of people are talking about it. I'm a fan. I was talking about Black Bolt a couple months ago, even. Um, the really interesting thing about Black Bolt, I actually have it. Let me bring it up here for you guys. We'll go 6-month chart here. So you can see from like, when was this? Mid-September to, let's call it like mid-January. So how many months is that? October, November, December. 4 months, basically. This ETB was flat. Nothing was happening if you were looking at only the market price. Now, I track sales volume and supply on eBay for Black Bolt. And basically, month over month, supplies come down, sales volume's been consistently high. That's kind of why I was telling people when this was like $85 a month ago, like you should probably buy some of this because we're at a point where that supply is getting quite small, right? And they're still selling at a very strong pace. It makes complete sense to me that these are $105 at this point. I think they should probably be like 140, honestly, in this market. And Ascended's out now, so like maybe you can make the argument that that's limiting it. But yeah, these will only get more expensive with time. And it's interesting too because it's one of those sets where it's in between Destined and then, I mean, Phantasmal's hot, Mega's hot, Ascended's obviously going to be very in demand. It might not get the crazy print runs that some other sets get. The one thing I hate about Black Bolt and White Flare are the ETB promos. The Thunderous and Landorus, I'm pretty sure. Like, they're just not exciting. They're never going to be crazy expensive. Whereas when I look at something like Ascended, I mean, that Zekrom promo and Zekrom too, like that is fire. 100% fire. It's a great set. So I'm definitely more bullish on Ascended, and I would rather have a larger position in Ascended. But if you're buying these at like $85 over the past couple months, you're going to do very well on them, in my opinion. Steve says, question, buying 130 Ascended ETBs at 95 USD, one of the cheapest out there. How is that not the most obvious play by far? Yeah, Steve, I agree with you. Like that is, that's a really good play, in my opinion. It's the same thing though with Prismatic last year. Everybody was saying you're gonna have a ton of time to pick up Ascended, or back then they were saying Prismatic, right? So You had a few months, I guess, middle of the year. I mean, even in November, Costco's in Canada were getting restocked. So I think it's gonna be one of those things where you got to be ready to DCA over the next 12 months. But if you're buying 130 at 95 bucks a piece, you probably have deep enough pockets that you could buy 130 more if they dropped like 70 bucks, 80 bucks. So yeah, I think it's a very obvious play. And when you just look at the value in the set, it's only rival, I'd say, in the SVR is going to be Prismatic. Once we get a decent amount of Ascended out there, top 10 value is probably going to be like 2.5K if I had to guess. So that's really going head to head with Prismatic. And then the next closest things may be 151 right now, just because the singles have popped off. But outside of that, like Destined, Paldean Fates, Black Bolt, White Flare, like it really is an S tier set. So yeah, I think it's super obvious. Question from Toronto 6 God. Good evening, Grayson. Since we have experienced this high intensity of 151 that I've never seen before, expect a small correction, then after to moon again. Thanks. Yeah, I don't know. Like I would expect 151 to start to slow down, especially to early stream. I also have the card pulled up here. I can show you. The Blastoise is already pulling back a little bit. I haven't checked any of the other cards. I guess we can do this kind of live right now. And just see. Charizard's 450. So actually, why is that only showing LP? This is annoying. Let me go back. Sorry, guys. Go condition, near mint. And then hopefully when I open this. It doesn't look like yeah, maybe a little bit here. You guys can see that. From like 490, 450 now. Sales volume starting to tick up. So 380. Wow. Near mint sale today at 380. 521 though. This is all over the place. If I wasn't on Edge, if I was on Chrome, I'd be signed in already and I could look at all the sales data. If someone wants to let me know what's going on here, because a lot of these sales are still higher, which is bizarre, right? Pushing over 500. My guess though would be some of these singles are going to start to slow down though. It seems very unlikely that they're going to hold at these levels. And if they do retrace 20, 30, 40%, we're probably going to see the sealed products start to slow down. That would be my guess. Grayson got a chance to buy a Silver Tempest booster box. Actually, sorry, Dislodge. Before we get to this, let me just double check. Let me make sure I answered this completely. And then to moon again after. No, look. Singles, I think, are going to correct a bit. I think that's going to slow down the sealed product. I don't think it's going to moon again after that, though. Like maybe we'll just see steady growth on it. But I mean, if you're asking 3 months from now if 151 ETBs are going to jump from like, what are they, $600 up to like 1,000 or something? No, I don't see that happening. Like this has been crazy growth on 151. And I think that completely answers the question. Okay. Moving on, Dislodged. You have a chance to buy a Silver Tempest booster box and 2 Surging booster boxes, all minty, 880 shipped, go or no go. I mean, I just don't like Silver Tempest right now, I'll be honest. But the one, or not the 151, the Surging, depending on what you're paying for Surging, I think Surging's a pretty good buy. I don't know if it's the best buy, but like you look at every other booster box in the era, the fact that Surging's still like 250, 240. I'm going to pull it up for you guys. Like it's wild. It really is wild to me. And I'm not sure if everyone here watched the video yesterday, but the really interesting thing about Surging, when you look at the sales volume on eBay, and specifically for buy it now sales, so no auctions, maybe that changes things. But when you look at buy it now sales for Surging over the past week, and the week before was basically the same thing. If you add up SV base all the way up to Stellar Crown, and then you add in Destined Rivals on top, you still have higher sales volume from Surging alone compared to all those combined. And when you add in Journey, the enhanced version, so if you add in unenhanced, it'd probably be a little bit higher, but with Journey enhanced, it's only like 1 box more per day. from all of those sets combined compared to Surging. Like, there is so much demand for this product. The fact that it hasn't moved, by the way, in like a year, it's basically flat. Like, this can only go on for so much longer. And you have to think like these vending machines getting restocked probably going to be the last time, right? Like, we're seeing so many Surging booster boxes out there, and we're not getting Destin boxes. Really? Could you imagine what the sales volume of Destin would be if they flooded vending machines in the Pokemon Center and stores with these and they were like $300 a box? I mean, they're selling like 7 per day. Buy it now, and that's a $500 box. If it was $300, probably like 30 a day would be moving, right? So like, I don't know. To me, it just doesn't make sense. I don't think it can go on much longer. I think it's a pretty good buy right now. I'm not gonna say the best buy because like Ascended, 151, Black Bull, White, like there's so many options you can go with. Even Sword and Shield, my thesis was that if the SV era, if some of these products kept going, eventually money would flow back to Sword and Shield. We'll see tomorrow when I do the update in the spreadsheet how it's looking, but I don't know. There's just so many good plays out there right now. So many good plays. But I am a little bit less bullish, excuse me, on silver. Surging, I think, is a way better buy. Gut says go. Like, yeah, like, let's see. I mean, even if you're paying 240 for Surging, that's 480, 400 on silver. Like, you could sell the silver probably instantly for 425, 450. I don't know. I think you could do it. It's shipped too. Like, you could probably do it and then just sell the silver. Like, that's probably what I would do. But I think you can probably, at least in Canada, you can probably find a couple stores where you can just buy Surging outright for like 240, 245 converted. So all that extra work just to, I don't know. To me, I probably wouldn't do it. But if your gut says go, then go with your gut, because that's probably one of the most important things that you can listen to in life. Ken saying the bundle really wants to break 200. Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing too about bundles is like, what's the most expensive bundle right now? Crown Zenith, Lost Origin, maybe. I mean, the Silver Tempest ones are cheap; those are like $70 right now. Lost Origin, I want to say we're like 140, 150 at one point. Maybe they're higher now. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. 151 will probably become the most expensive bundle for a while. Maybe in the future, Prismatic rivals it. I'm not including displays either because there's a huge disparity there. So it'll be interesting to track and really see if there is ultimately going to be a ceiling on those. Same thing with like PCTBs. The higher the 151 ETB goes, like it's going to pave the way, let's say, for PCTBs in the future. Brado's in here. What's up, Profit? Not much, man. Just hanging out, talking about the market a little bit. Haven't eaten yet, getting hungry, but we've only been going for like 48 minutes. We probably go another hour or something. We'll see. As long as there's questions, we'll take questions. I also realized too, we have a couple starred messages, so we'll check that out here. Let me make note. 325. So we're very far behind in chat, guys. Sorry. Tends to turn into this when we're flying solo. MX Bile asks, worth buying Fusion Strike booster box at 1,000. I think it'll run soon. I'm not buying any more Fusion at 1,000. I do have Fusion already though. I have a zero cost basis. So for me, the boxes I have stored away, I'm not going to touch them for a while. It's easy for me to say to not buy more. I think Fusion will be more expensive in the future, for sure. I think that if Sword and Shield runs, it'll probably be one of the first sets to go. So, yeah, is it worth it? Like, I can't really answer that for you. I'll answer it this way. Like, I don't think Surging is going to be the best performing investment that you could buy over the next 5 years, but it's a very safe investment, I would say, based on its current level. So I think it just depends on what you value, right? Trying to chase the highest ROI, or if you're trying to have safer investments. Home Depot boy says nice TRJ cameo. I don't know what you're talking about, man. Unfortunately, no clue. Did he use me in a video or something? Wouldn't shock me. Wouldn't shock me. Most bearish bullish take on Black Bolt White Flare long term. The bullish take is that they were very cheap and supplies, I wouldn't say dried up because that would imply like there's no supply out there, but the supply of ETBs at least has been heavily reduced over the past 6 months, and the price of the box did not move. So I think those should be more expensive, especially too when you look at top 10 value in that set. You're on par with Paldean Fates. You're above Crown Zenith. You're a little bit lower than 151 right now, but for the longest time, the top 10 value was above 151. So when you look at all those ETBs, they're $300, right? Or more. 151, $600. Black Bolt's $90, $95. White Flare's basically the same price, a bit cheaper. Those should, in my opinion, be $200 ETBs in the future, at least, right? If not $300. So I think there's a lot of room for them to run. Bearish take, I hate the ETB promos. So I think that's going to limit them. When you look at a set like 151, Snorlax is great. It's a very popular Pokemon. It's a popular card. The Paldean Fates, you have the Mimikyu, which a decent amount of people like. Ascended Heroes, the Zekrom's a great promo. So Crown Zenith, the Lucario's, whatever, but I feel like people cared a little bit less in the Sword and Shield era about those. So that would be my bearish take, talking specifically about the ETBs. But I think it's going to be a set that does quite well over the next couple of years. Maybe not the best, but it's just so cheap, right? It's so cheap compared to a lot of sets. It's a good opening experience. You do have legit cards in there that are $300-$400. So a lot of good things going for Black Bolt and White Flare. Let's see if I can try and catch up a little bit too, because we're like 30 minutes behind in chat. Someone said something about Edmonton, which I wanted to bring up. Oh, you're from Edmonton. Okay, went to U of A as well for CS. Awesome, man. Yeah, I initially started in the education program to be a teacher, and then I always knew I wanted to go to law school. And then I figured, like, I think it was second to third year, I swapped over from education to majoring in political science, minoring in linguistics. So that's what I finished my degree in, which, from a utility perspective was not a good choice, but it was much more enjoyable. Let's say I found that way more interesting. I've always found politics and language interesting in general. But man, I got a lot of insight into like the education system in Canada, and it is cooked. Like it is straight cooked. If I have kids in the future, like it is going to be very difficult to justify sending them to public school in this country. If you live in different parts of the world, maybe it's different, but man, like, yeah, I don't know. Like a third of your kid's life. It's highly problematic. And I'm just ranting at this point. Nobody really cares. People are going to start clicking off. But yeah, very cool. Edmonton. The one thing I'll say about Edmonton too, before we move on, Edmonton has fire food. Like when I went there, my first year in Edmonton, I roomed with a really good friend who's from my hometown. And he took me to this like Hoguo, so it's like hot pot place. I think on the south side, I want to say. So good. Like if you went after like 9 p.m., I think it was 50% off or 30% off. Amazing hot pot. There's a really good Vietnamese place that I used to always order from. They had crazy spring rolls. Then there was like is it King Donair, Queen Donair? Bro, that's one thing I miss about being in a big city is the food. Like, even when I was in Bogota too, so many places you can get fire food, and being in a small town, like, we have a lot of restaurants. They're either insanely expensive or they're just not that good. So, yeah, definitely one thing I miss about Edmonton, but the weather, bro, like, when I had to get on the LRT and it was, like, -40 outside, it's just I don't miss that. Not for 1 minute. Mr. Zana's here. I follow you from Italy. Awesome, man. I'm actually I'm half Italian, so I have family in Milan and Cosenza. So I don't know what part of the country you're from, but I went there when I was 12 and it was super cool. I really want to go back to Italy. I imagine it's quite different now than what it was in 2008. So yeah, place I definitely want to get to again. Honestly, I could see myself living in Italy too. I I really liked Luca for whatever reason. I enjoyed Luca, and then Sorrento was beautiful. We didn't go into Naples, but being in Sorrento, like, it kinda just gave me small town vibes, and yeah, maybe that's goals. Goals to retire one day, Southern Italy, Tuscany, maybe even, goated place. I'm looking for questions, guys. I see a ton of comments too, but I am trying to catch up on chat. If you do want to skip the line, obviously you can super chat, but that's not required. I will try and get to every question. By the way, if you have a question, leave question all caps at the start. It's much easier for me to find. I'll take this one from Benji or Ben Gibson, sorry. You talk a lot about dollar cost average. Do you think if you're not a massive investor, is buying each set at MSRP the safest bet? Yeah, for sure. In this market, like, if you can buy stuff at MSRP, that's probably the best price you're going to get. A lot of stores, they're not going to sell you product cheaper than that. If this was like 2024 market, obviously that flips, right? And you can find product cheaper than MSRP. But for now, for sure, like, that's about as safe as it gets. So if you're buying like an Ascended Heroes ETB from Target or something. So yeah, I understand people are in different places. You have different budgets. If you have less money, you definitely have to get creative sometimes with how you want to spend your money. My advice too, for people who don't, and I'm not talking directly to you here, Ben, but for people who maybe have less money and they want to build large positions, I think at that point, like, you should probably start putting your money to work in a different way. So start a business, buy collections, flip the collections, make 20, 30%, and just keep doing that, right? Like, you will grow your money a lot faster doing that than you will just buying a box and sitting on it. So once you get to a certain level of investment, it makes sense to just be a bit more hands off. But if you only have a few $1,000s, a few $100, whatever it is, and you want to grow it into something big, that's the way that I would recommend going about it. But yes, MSRP right now, super safe bet. Zuko's in here. Sup, Grayson? How's it going, man? Anon is running out of time for his Q1 reprints. Yeah, man. Like, yeah, I don't want to go after Anon here at all. Like, the guy's obviously very intelligent, but if you're going to be that confident in something happening, and people buy into what he said, like, people buy into what I say too, right? So it's like, if you're going to get on the internet and say stuff with a very high level of confidence to the point where, like, you're making fun of other people who are saying things different than you, right? And you're kind of acting like you know everything. It better come to fruition, right? It better come true. So I'm waiting until end of Q1. I still have a bit of faith, but it's not a good look if we get into April, May, and those boxes aren't here, right? So I think there's something to, I've said this before, like, I understand why people want to be anonymous on the internet. Like, I get it. It makes tons of sense to me, but there's something to where, like, when you don't have to be held accountable for what you say on the internet, it can kind of almost skew what you ultimately end up saying, right? So we'll see what happens. I still have faith in Anon. The guy's obviously really smart, so no hate to him. Like, he's built out a bunch of different revenue streams based off what he's doing in the space. So I think just from a business perspective, that's someone that you should be watching. But yeah, from a calling perspective about what's going to happen, this could be a big miss. Pedro says, selling most of my baseball, basketball, and football cards to buy more Pokemon Ascended Heroes. There you go, man. Yeah, Ascended Heroes being the target, that's a good choice. There's a lot of people moving too from sports cards into whether One Piece or Pokemon right now. That could maybe months ago. This time around, it feels a bit more speculative. I understand like Pokemon's doing a lot of PR. Like there probably is some organic demand there, but at the same time, I've seen it, especially with One Piece. A lot of people, moving into that sphere, buying out the top serialized cards and mangas and chases. It's interesting to see, fun to see as well. The solo 401 king. We don't have 401s up here, so TFSA king though. We could swap it out that way. At least I don't think we have 401s. I don't have a 401. But yeah, max the TFSA if you're in Canada, guys. Like that is it's crazy, dude. The amount of tax that we get hit with in Canada and what we get for our tax dollars, it's so pathetic that like if you have a TFSA or you're able to open one, you're 18 plus, like dude, get on that. Like people, I know you can make money work better in different places like Pokemon, but at the same time, having a sizable TFSA when you retire or in 20, 30 years, it's going to be huge. So yeah, very bullish on that. Carlos asks, what's up, Grayson? I've been watching for some time now. Great content. Thank you, Carlos. Appreciate it. Been watching for some time. That's awesome. And by the way, like I'm kind of phasing out right now. I hope you didn't take this the wrong way. I'm just thinking of food. I'm getting hungry, so that's what it is. Thank you for watching, though. I genuinely appreciate it. And it's always good to hear when new people are stopping by in the streams. Get to know some new faces. That's good. Jacob says I'm at 70 Ascended Heroes ETBs, 10 PCTBs, 2 prismatic. I'm guessing that's SPC cases. 55 prismatic Lucario boxes, and then 5 Megazard UPC cases. Wow. And a 151 display. All on the CC. No, dude. The CC. No. Oh, man. Jacob, I'm happy you're in the space. I'm happy you're excited. Maybe this is rage bait. Maybe it's not, but I'm happy you're excited about being in the space. I can't get behind leveraging into cardboard. I can't do it. So I hope it works out for you. I wish you nothing but the best, but that also stresses me out a little bit, man. I'll be honest. Now, if you have the money for it and you're not going to pay interest, that's fine. Like I put stuff on my credit card. I always pay it off. I never pay interest, but you said you'll pay it down slowly. So I assume you're probably going to be making minimum payments or something and accrue interest. Not the place you want to be, my friend. Pokemon, how we doing? We're doing all right. We're doing okay. Hungry, man. Starting to phase out, but we'll try and get through this. I feel like I'm catching up, but maybe not. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm actually falling behind. Let's see if there are some questions. Here's one from Smith. The Bubble Mew I pulled just came back in a 10. Awesome. Congratulations. Is it good to sell now or wait for it to rotate out since I don't have much money to put towards Pokemon investing? It would make a bit. Yeah, man. Like if you feel like it would make a big difference, sell it, right? Like if you want to put it somewhere else. The thing too is like I'm very short. Dan says this too, so I'm taking Dan's phrase: short plastic, long cardboard, right? So for me, I'm not a big fan of being invested in slabs. When you look at something like the Bubble Mew, I know you said 10. I don't know if it's BGS, PSA. I'm gonna assume PSA. I think there's 18,000 of them, 20,000 PSA 10. So there's a lot out there. It's not years from now, it's $100,000 card. I would say though, like if you're in that position where that money goes a long way. Just sell it, right? So that's a big win. The fact that you pulled it, came back at 10, turned probably a $10 pack into 17, $1,800, whatever it is right now. Question. I honestly don't even know what it's going for right now. Let me look it up at $20. Is this correct? Or some of the graphs are broken. Up 52% over the past month. Yeah. I'm gonna say no. That's just my gut instinct. So normally when cards go on runs like this, it's hard to justify that they're undervalued, right? A lot of the 151 stuff is just ballooned over the past couple months. So yeah, very difficult to say it's undervalued. Maybe it's fairly valued. Before, when it was like 10, $15, maybe that was the time to buy. I don't know. Trainer cards, supporter cards in general, they're just not the most popular thing either anymore. So I do think you have to factor that in a little bit. Um, Pack Hype Collectives in here. What's up, Grayson? Love the content as usual. Thank you, man. What do you think about Alex saying in his video today? Yeah, we talked about this a little bit, Pack Hype, towards the start of the stream, but I'll answer it again here briefly. I think Alex could potentially be onto something, and I've actually been saying kind of the same thing for the past few months. And it's definitely not a popular opinion right now. Um, when you look at certain sets like, let's say, Black Bolt, when it was $80, $85 in ETB, I think that's the example I used when I made my content about that. Like, it wouldn't shock me if Black Bolt at those levels outperforms Astral, Chilling Rain, maybe even Brilliant Stars, Silver Tempest over the next few years. It wouldn't surprise me. So when I look at Ascended Heroes, Prismatic, some of these newer sets that are really good, to me, I'm much more excited, even though they're brand new sets, to be buying those compared to the older stuff, right? I think the older stuff, Sword and Shield era, Sun and Moon era, very safe investments. Like, you're not going to lose a lot of money on those. But I think if you're theory crafting, right, and trying to optimize and see what ends up being the best investment, it's probably not going to be that mid-tier Sword and Shield stuff anymore. I think even a lot of the higher tier Sword and Shield stuff, like I think Evolving, Fusion Strike, maybe Lost Origin, like those could probably still compete with SV era, Mega era block over the next 5 years. But I think a lot of the other stuff, it's probably had its big run. And again, like when I say big run, I mean in terms of ROI. Like those boxes could still get to $1,500, $2,000 in the future. But when you apply a little bit of nuance and you look at the CAGR of it, right, and how much you're actually seeing in terms of a return year over year, that's where I think it's starting to become a little bit muddy, and maybe the Sword and Shield stuff won't do as well as SV era moving forward. So yeah, I don't actually hate what Alex is saying. I think it's a conversation that needed to be had. So I'm happy to start to see some other people, talking about it and believing the same things I do. And that was at 3:35. Okay, I'm making a mental note because I saw a super chat come in. So I do want to take this. $10, by the way. That guy, Drew, thank you for the super chat, man. Appreciate it. I have 300. I'm assuming that's Prismatic Evolutions bundles at $56 a piece. I have 1,400 to spend this weekend. I bought an Ascended Heroes ETB case last weekend. Should I buy more Prismatic booster bundles, increasing my quantity and dollar cost average, or buy another Ascended case? Wow. Okay. 300 bundles. I think for me, if this were me, if I were in your shoes, Drew, I would probably buy more Ascended just because, like, I like both of those sets. I think they're both great. Personally, I think Prismatics may be a little bit deeper of a set, but I think the opening experience in Ascended is a lot better because you have the IRs and honestly, you have a variety of Pokemon. So my goal is to have fairly balanced positions between the two. Um, so like if you think over the next couple of years you're going to be able to balance them, then you could probably buy more prismatic. Like I think 2 years from now, 3 years from now, maybe not even that far. Like if we look 12 months into the future, I think the likelihood that you could buy Ascended near the price it is now compared to prismatic near the price it is now, probably a higher probability for Ascended to be in that same category. So in that sense, maybe it's worth buying prismatic, but I want to have balanced positions of these. So if you kind of view it the same way I do, and you think you're not going to be able to get there if you keep buying prismatic, then maybe it's worth buying more Ascended. That's my logic that I'm applying to it. I think they're both great sets, so I wanna have skin in the game for both of them. But I also don't think there's a huge discrepancy between what you're gonna see in terms of ROI buying either of these. Both great choices in my opinion. Hopefully that answers the question. Thank you for the super chat. We had this one come in from Pokemon Course. Hey, buddy. Here in the UK, prismatic ETBs are 145 to 150 pounds. Send Heroes are around 80 to 85. Which ones would you be buying? Probably Ascended, that price difference. But again, like if I were buying Ascended now, I'd know that like or I not know, but I would expect to not see any gains for a couple years. I would go in buying it with that understanding. Whereas with something like Prismatic, you're paying more, but at least if I was buying that, I would expect to see some ROI over the next 12 months to 18 months. So yeah. Yeah, both great sets. I rank them fairly closely, but if you're buying Ascended at this point, you do have to be ready to DCA. That's all I'll say. And some people like if you don't have super deep pockets, you want your money to go as far as possible, you're probably going to be able to buy Ascended Heroes ETBs in the summer. So actually, maybe if you don't have that much money and you're just thinking about buying like one of them, like a loose ETB, my guess there's going to be better opportunities or similar opportunities 6 months from now, which I would equate to being a better opportunity because 6 months has passed in terms of the life cycle and it's the same price. So yeah, that's how I look at it. But the cases, I'm buying cases. Maybe I should have specified that. Mr. Baller says, I don't want to be that guy, Profit, but you are being that guy, right? You are being that guy. But do you think this time is actually different? I'm hearing from people like you and Nomics that there's real deal money flowing into the hobby market now. Um, do you think this time is actually different? I'm not sure what you mean by this though. Like I'm kind of confused. Because you're saying from people like me and Nomics that there's real deal money flowing into the hobby market now. There is. So I'm not sure what you want me to be comparing it to. Can you, if you're still in the comments, let me go down to live chat. Can you specify what you mean by this? I'll wait a minute just to see because like I I can only speak to my experience and my time in the hobby. And I started getting in like mid 2023, went hard 2023, like late 2023 buying Sword and Shield. I'm at a point now where I'm lucky enough to work with a lot of people who are spending six figures, seven figures in Pokemon. So I can tell you that there are people like that buying a lot of Pokemon. Um, but in comparison to what exactly like COVID 2 years ago, kind of confusing. But yes, I can say with 100% confidence that there are people like this building funds. I mean, I interviewed Austin on the channel, right? So there are people coming in. Goon says he's probably talking about the COVID boom. Yeah, like it does feel different, at least to me, right? And I wasn't super deep into Pokemon during the COVID boom, but I feel like back then there weren't any funds. You didn't have this level of like, I don't even know the word to describe it. Like, we're so fundamentally sound now in terms of the amount of people that have businesses and have money invested in the hobby. I think when you just look at the macro in society too, how many people are actually bullish on TCGs as a whole. Kevin O'Leary's in it now. All these CNBC articles. Like, I don't remember seeing a ton of that back then, right? During Logan Paul's time in the hobby, during COVID. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But yeah, I think that answers it, honestly. I don't want to keep talking on it, but I'll say like my experience is my lived experience, right? And I can only speak to that. There are people coming in with a lot of money, buying a lot of stuff, whether it's top singles in some games or a lot of sealed product in others. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. That's what you're looking for. Question from Pallet Town Sean. Finding buyers for sealed in Canada is so difficult, but I hear sealed sells so fast in the USA. Maybe good idea to try and sell to USA vendors. Yeah, I would agree. Like, putting product in the national Facebook group, you can find people to buy it. A lot of the people buying stuff, though, they're generally resellers as well, store owners. They want to give you like 70%, 80%. I This is kind of why maybe I'm holding off selling a lot of my Sword and Shield, but I've talked to people in the States where, like, if tariffs go away and I can move stuff down there a lot easier, I might just move stuff through contacts in the States. Because why would you? I mean, our best, to my understanding, our best consignment service is probably Slab Sharks, and they're still charging you like 12 to 13%, I think, if you were going to sell a booster box or an ETB. So it's not really worth it to sell through them on auction. And especially like if you're selling in the States, you're going to get exposure to a much larger market, right? People hate when I bring up Slab Shark auctions in my videos because it's sold in Canada, right? And we have what, 40 million people versus 350, 400 million in the States. So yeah, it's something you could potentially do. Because I've thought about it as well. Do you think prismatic binder collections are a sleeper? No. No, look, the 151 binder collection is at 150, but when you look at the ROI of that, we talked about this in a video, I think like probably a month ago at this point, 3 weeks ago or something. Those binders haven't really done a ton over the past like 12 months. So could they double again? Yes, but I think there's probably way better places to put your money. All right, yeah, 200 in live chat. Congrats. Thank you, man. It's booming for sure. It's weird because in StreamYard, the number is jumping for me from like 240 to 150. Like it's kind of all over the place right now, which is odd. But yeah, there's definitely more people here than normal. And definitely grateful for that, by the way. Thank you to all for being here. But to me, that tells me we're also kind of in a market boom. And I've seen at the same time, views on the One Piece channel, they're still strong, but they're definitely not peak where they were like middle of January. So attention is definitely shifting, and that's fine. That's always going to be something that happens, but it's good to acknowledge and point out. What do you think on the next set, the Storm Emeralda with Rayquaza and Darkrai? Yeah, I think it could potentially be good. A Rayquaza SIR gold card, who knows? Like those could be fire for sure. I I really liked Emerald, Fire Red, Leaf Green as a kid. So I don't know what all the rumors are going on, what sets we're getting. But if we get something with Gen 3 Pokemon, I think it'd be really cool. And Rayquaza in general, I'm a huge fan of. So yeah, optimistic. We'll see what some of the cards look like. But until we actually see leaks, confirmed leaks, by the way, it's something we can't really go too in depth into. Zuko says, I am far less concerned about the price I get ascended at and more concerned about getting a lot of minty cases. Everyone trying to save a few bucks, 1100 per case is perfectly fine. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's how I'm viewing it. My plan with Prismatic, I bought a ton of the loose ETBs. And I will say, I'll probably do the same with Ascended if they're going through Costco's and Sam's Club and I can get them very cheap. But out the gate, I've bought 3 cases, sealed cases of Ascended ETBs. One's still in the mail, 2 are already here. But yeah, like I really want to prioritize the cases this time around. I think it's just easier to sell. ETBs in general, I've told a lot of people this. The wraps, for whatever reason, get damaged very easily, and I just hate having to deal with that. So, sealed case, if they're damaged inside, not gonna be my problem, right? Because it's sealed. So, yeah, that's my goal there. And obviously, like case premiums are a thing too. Steve, thank you for the super chat. Any fear we could be in a huge bubble or an economic downturn could tank value, leaving us holding the bag? Feel a bit crazy with so much money in Pokemon. I ask myself this all the time. Genuinely, like, are we in a bubble? How long this can last? To me, getting to talk to a lot of these guys doing rip and chips and the amount of product that is getting opened on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, it's very hard to say we're just in a massive bubble because for a lot of these sets, somewhere between like 50 and 80% of the supply has probably already been opened. As insane as that sounds, right? And you can kind of reverse engineer this by just looking at pop reports, looking at pull rate data. It's a really interesting thing to go in depth on. And, Dan has really good numbers from Catch 'em All Collectible. I know a couple other people have talked about this too. So I don't know. Like when I look at, and this is kind of why I stay with the sealed product, because when I look at the pop reports on some of these cards, when I look at Van Gogh, that Pikachu, right? Like I don't feel great about owning those, and that's why I don't. But at the same time, I think the conversation has to shift again because when you look at these digital rips, that's all slabs, right? And sure, there's different tiers, but a lot of the slabs at this point are in vaults. They're never actually going to leave the vaults. Um, and you also have, right, like what are they called? Meme strategy out of China, buying all the Van Goghs. You have these investment funds now buying a ton of these slabs with the intention to hold them. So I don't think, and that's maybe why it's kind of different from COVID. With the money in the hobby at this point, these aren't people that are going to diamond hands or excuse me, aren't going to paper hands in my opinion and sell everything if the market starts to tank. So I really do think we're in a different market, but I am always asking myself this, and that's why I do have money in different investments, right? Like I said, if you're in Canada, max your TFSA. Like that's one of the safest things that you can do. So yeah, it's always going to be a worry, of course, but I think at the same time, just looking at the macro in life, in society, where we're at in the hobby, there's a lot of things to still be bullish about. And honestly, there's arguments you could make that the hobby continues to grow in size, doubles or triples. I mean, when you read some studies, some reports, the collectible market's estimated to grow what, 9% year over year for the next decade. So it's one of those things where I'm still very bullish, right? But I always do ask myself this. So it's a great question to be asking. We did have another super chat come through too. So we'll take this one before getting back to the other chat. Vendetta Cinema, thank you for the super chat. Have 10 ascended PC ETBs. Wow. Average of 170 a piece. Okay. Should I grab more for long-term gains? It's interesting. I'm not buying them, and maybe that's a mistake on my end because what, they were 200 out the gate. They're 320, 330 now. Let me actually pull them up. Ascended Heroes Pokemon Center. And then, sorry guys, just give me a second. Looking for the box on TCG Player. Here we go. So yeah, they're already up to 320 again. The interesting thing here, 350 recent sale. Wow. The interesting thing about Ascended, and I've talked about this a little bit today, the promo card is really strong. I like the promo. And, with these Pokemon Center ETBs, the ones that are holding up better right now have stronger promos. So Obsidian Flames, I think, is probably the best example of a set that's fairly weak, but the PCTB is still very expensive because that promo, I think, is still, I want to say like $3,300 in a 10. Maybe it's more than that, less than that, but it's very expensive, right? So when I look at Ascended, I don't think the Zekrom's on the level of the Charmander or even like the Pikachu from Paldea, the Eevee, but it'll be up there. The other thing too, it's a really strong set. So there's a lot going for these. Prismatic PCTBs are what? 450 at this point. Destin Rivals is 420. So I think these could keep running for sure. I don't know if it's going to be the best place to put your money. Seems like a fairly safe bet. And then two, like if we do get a restock on the Pokemon Center, I don't think that's something you should worry about. You just buy more at that point, right? Like that. It's I laugh, but my investment strategy now is I just buy shit I like, and then if it gets cheaper, I buy more of it. That's really the simplified version of what I'm doing. So if you like the product, buy more. Don't worry about a restock. If we do get a restock on Pokemon Center, just DCA. So yeah, I think they could keep running. To answer your question. Should you grab more though? It's up to you. Hopefully you can take what I said, and then if you want to apply it, my reasoning, there you go. OP13 case for 6,200 cash. I brought this up because it's funny, Jason. This is like the first One Piece comment I've got in this video. And this is how I know we're booming, because before, when I would do a stream on the Poke Profit channel, I feel like half the questions were about One Piece at times. OP13, 6,200 cash, a little bit over 500 a box. Like, it's not terrible. I would try and get it for 6 cash. Maybe those cases have just dried up though. Like, I feel like a week ago, there were cases moving 57, 5,800 through Probstein. Maybe we are up to 6,200 already. It's a great set. That's going to be something in the future that I do believe will be $1,000 box. So I have my cases. I'm holding them. It's not a bad price to be paying. And I don't think the reprint in May or June, whenever it comes, is going to change that much. That's my gut instinct. Could be wrong. We'll have to wait and see. Nerf asks, do you ever get sketched out buying cases? I'm just a little concerned with fakes, kind of what you just buy. Kind of want to just buy 10 loose Ascended ETBs because of that and no case premium. What are your thoughts? So good question. I think in the future this will be a much larger issue for people. And it's interesting too, because we had just had that fake Evolving Skies case sell. I think Pokey Sun covered that on Instagram, and a couple other people talked about it. I saw some really interesting comments. Somebody said they bought like an endoscope or something that they could put in kind of under the cardboard just to confirm what's inside. I think there's ways in the future that people will not be worried about this if they can get to that level. X-ray machines too. Like there's some interesting things going on. I tend not to worry when I'm buying like a brand new set. So if I'm buying Ascended Heroes cases at this point, and I'm buying from Remy Card Trader in Canada or Cardboard Hero or any of these legit stores where they're getting their product from distribution, I'm not going to worry about it, right? It wouldn't make sense for them to sell you fake products. But if you're buying from a secondary market seller in a Facebook group and you're buying, let's say, a Hidden Fates case or something, at that level, I would be a little bit more concerned for sure. And that's kind of why, in Pokemon, in a game where cases aren't mappable, right? So in One Piece, if you pull a manga out of a booster box in a case, the rest of the boxes aren't going to have a manga. In games like that, it makes sense to me why there's a premium on sealed cases. In Pokemon, I don't understand why there's case premiums. I really don't. Like, to me, I mean, I understand why for certain things, but I don't think there should be these crazy case premiums. So if you're out the gate buying a case, I wouldn't worry, especially if it's coming from a very large store. They're getting their product from distro. But if you're buying something that's 5 years old on the secondary market from a random seller on Facebook, I would be a lot more suspicious for sure. And I've even worked with people who, again, heavy pockets, buying cases of blue bottom booster boxes. One of the guys I talked to in Singapore, he bought 2 cases of them. So that's like, for context, about 200,000 USD. They agreed, buyer and seller, that they would open up the case before payment, right? So like, if there's anything not romanced on in there, or if the boxes were damaged, because Singapore is like a really humid place too, so they were worried about humidity and all that. That's one way people probably go about it in the future, just agreeing to open the product, and if it is what it's supposed to be, they're going to buy it, and it doesn't matter what the product is condition wise inside. But if it's something different, like that could be a way around it too. So hopefully that answers your question. Very long-winded. I'm rambling way too much, which is just not a good sign. Not a good sign. To me, that tells me I need to eat food, but we'll try and get through the next 30 minutes or so. Maybe we'll go a bit longer. If people have questions, I'll try and answer them. Steve, another super chat too. Thank you. Appreciate it. Will Pokemon or One Piece do better overall moving forward? My gut still says Pokemon at this point. Now, I made a guess middle of last year, I think it was like July or August, that One Piece was going to outperform in the short term, like over the next 12 months. So I think when we get to July of this year and we look back over the past 12 months, I wouldn't be shocked if One Piece is still doing better. But a lot of those gains have probably already caked in, if that makes sense, from this boom. But the reason why I still like Pokemon more than One Piece, couple reasons. One, the audience for Pokemon's much larger. You're not going to have every 5-year-old interested in One Piece because there is more nudity, more violence. Granted, the age we're in, I feel like that stuff's less relevant. Like, people find, you know, adult content earlier on than what they did 20, 30 years ago, before the internet and before Instagram and TikTok. So I don't think it's like the largest concern when you look at investments. In terms of like a societal problem, I think it's a huge concern. But in terms of investments, I don't think that's the largest issue. For me, the story will end. And I think there will be a time after the story ends where One Piece is still incredibly relevant. But when I look at things like Star Wars, Harry Potter, sure, there are collectibles that are still very expensive from those games, those stories. Where else was I going with this? There's still things that are very expensive, but at the same time, those are IPs that are less relevant now. And the further we get away from their release date, right? Newer generations don't care about those IPs as much. So if we have spin-offs of One Piece, maybe they do a story following Gold Roger as a kid, or Shanks, or who knows, whatever character they want to do, that could keep interest for sure for a very long period of time. But eventually there comes a point where that story ends, all the writing for it ends, and the generations after us, right, the newer generations, the babies that aren't even born, they're not going to care. Whereas with Pokemon, the story's still going. We have new generations coming out, right? Gen 10's coming out. So as long as that's continuing, I'm very bullish in Pokemon. Hopefully that answers your question. But I do think One Piece over the next 5 years still going to be a good place to park your money. And maybe I'm just coping because I still have product, right? I know there's going to be someone saying that I'm shilling, but the breaking experience in One Piece, like, me as a human being, I would much rather open One Piece product now than Pokemon. Because one, card quality is way better. It frustrates me. You open a top hit in Pokemon, the thing's off-centered, it's going to get like an 8 or a 9, right? Maybe there's a couple white dots on the back. One Piece, 89-90% of cards are going to get a 10 on average. So it's like, if you pull the manga, you know it's going to get graded a 10. And then also the thing too, the value is there. Like Royal Blood, for example, when that released, the box was $100. You could have bought it for like $80-90. The Law manga was still $600 USD, right? We don't see that in Pokemon. You know, OP09, that was a $200 box, $175 even. The top hit was $4,000. And then you had 4 other mangas that were between, I don't know, 600 and $1,000. You had 2 SPs over a couple $100. We don't see that value in Pokemon. And similar pull rates, by the way, very similar pull rates. So for me, I think the opening experience is great. I think it's only a matter of time before more people catch on to that, but we will see what happens over the next couple of years. Vendetta asks again, trade the Mewtwo, so Shining Legends, I'm assuming PSA 10, for Gold Star Mewtwo PSA 9. Look, Vendetta, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. I'm probably not the best person to ask about this. I think the Shining Legends Mewtwo in a 10, I want to say is like 50, $100, 5,000. I think. I have zero clue what a Gold Star Mewtwo in a 9 is going for. Zero clue. All I know, the Gold Stars have pumped very hard over the past, 6 months, 12 months. So has the Mewtwo moved a lot? I don't know. The pop on that I don't think is very high either. The Shining Legends Mewtwo. I want to say it's like 1900 tens, 1800, something like that. Maybe I'm off, but yeah, I couldn't answer this for you, man. I feel bad about that, but this is not a space that I want to give my opinion on because it'll probably be the wrong opinion, honestly. If it were up to me, I'd probably just sell it and buy like 50 Ascended ETPs or something. So yeah. But let me know what you do. I'm curious. I do think you're buying into Gold Stars after they've run up a lot though. So just be aware of that. Let me get a bit of water here too. I saw a Serial comment. Shout out Easty again one time from Relicor. Serial investments are where it's at. Dude, Serial is so fucking good, man. Just so good. Like I don't know about a lot of people, but I would have, what were they called? Nesquik? Was it Nesquik growing up? Like the chocolate Cocoa Puffs. And by the way, most cereals are terrible for you. Like you're basically eating just pure sugar, right? But there's nothing better than a bowl of cereal, milk in there, good milk, none of this almond milk bullshit, oat milk, real milk, right? Mix that up. So good. So good. I love mini wheats too. Mini wheats are goated. Raisin Bran is goated. Shreddies are goated too. Like there's a lot of good cereals out there. Let's see what other questions we have in here. We'll take Hector's comment too. Hector's the boy. What's good, broski? What's popping in the north side? Tuning in while at the gym. Awesome, man. I gotta get my steps in tonight too. I'm trying to hit 11,000 now per day because if I do 11K per day, I'll hit my goal this year. So a little bit behind schedule. My goal was like 3,640,000, so 10K per day. We've been slacking a little bit, not gonna lie. So I gotta get back on it. But good to see you, Hector. Good to know you're in the gym too. You're giving me some motivation too, man, to get off my lazy bum and do something too. Max also says that I'm at the gym as well, hitting push today. Awesome. Yeah, man. Push, pull, legs. That was the split for a very long period of time. Very long period of time. Question, would it be better to buy Ascended Hero sealed cases for 1,200 or 10 loose for 850? Yeah, see, Cores, this is a great question. Like, I think at this point, it gets very close, right? Very, very close. So that is a big difference, though. 35 in ETB, basically. I think if these were the options presented to me, I would probably buy the loose ETBs. I think so. Right? But realistically, right now, I think most of the cases you're probably still in the 11 range, and loose ETBs were probably still like 95 to 100. I mean, maybe if you're buying from a botter who got a ton through Target or something, you get them at 85. Not sure. But I feel like you can get cases cheaper than this. So I don't know. This kind of seems hypothetical, but I agree with you. Like there comes a point where it makes sense not to buy the sealed case and just buy the loose ones. You know, you could take it to the extreme and say, would it be better to buy the sealed case for 2K or loose ETBs for 20 bucks a piece, right? It's super obvious then. So yeah, I think it's really close, but in this scenario, I would probably pick the loose ones. As long as they're in good shape too. You know, if they're all ripped up and stuff, then no, but assuming they're in good shape, that's what I'd go with. That guy Drew says, I had my dad buy 300 bundles at 56 average. He wants to keep spending. Ooh, that's a dangerous spot to get. You know, it's funny, man. My dad, my parents in general, for a very long period of time, they didn't understand Pokemon investing. They didn't understand like why products moved up over time, right? They didn't understand rip and ship culture, all of this. My dad, over the past year and a half, started asking me questions and been a little bit more interested in it. I don't think he'll ever get into it. He's quite bearish about markets in general right now. And you know, he just retired. He still has a part-time job, so semi-retired, we'll call it. But it's something where I've seen a lot of, and I've worked with a lot of people that are middle age getting into the space over the past year. And it's very exciting to me because I've always said this, like, if you're curious about stuff, you're probably gonna do a lot better in life than people that just shut everything down. So, you know, one of the guys I worked with, I'm not gonna name him, but they left a comments on a video yesterday. I need to reach out to him. They got into One Piece because their kids were huge fans of it, right? So for them, seeing their kids do something instead of just shutting it down and assuming it was like some dumb teenage thing, right? They developed curiosity. They learned about it. They got in super early. They started watching my content. They probably 2 or 3x their money on a lot of things. And then they found Pokemon because of my stuff too. They started learning about Pokemon. So it's like if you just are curious about things in life, whether it's TCGs, investing in general, exercise, and whatever niche you're looking to get into, just the fact that you're willing to learn is probably going to put you in front of like 99% of people in life. So that's awesome that you could get your dad into it. I wish I could have got mine into it. I think it would have been a good bonding experience, but that's awesome for you, Drew. I'm happy for you guys. Perfection says surging is surprisingly unpopular for good set. See, this is where I would disagree. I don't think it's unpopular. I don't think it is. The sales volume does not justify deeming it unpopular. And I don't know, Perfection, I don't know if you were here when I said this the first time. I'm very far behind in chat, by the way. About an hour behind now. This is bad. I said, like, the sales volume of surging on eBay is higher now over the past 7 days than Destin Rivals and everything from SV Base to Stellar Crown combined, right? And if you add in Journey, it barely gets higher than surging. So it is moving at $250. Like it is moving. So I think there is a lot of demand for it, especially at these levels. Now I'll say it's surprisingly cheap. That's one thing I'll say. Like I think when I look at the market, the fact that Journey, Temporal, Paradox are all the same price or more expensive, to me that's ridiculous. I would never buy any of those boxes before searching. Just wouldn't happen. Matt asks, what's the best place to get an Ascended Heroes case in Canada right now? If you asked me this 2 days ago, I would have said Remy Card Trader because I think they were at $13.99 Canadian. I'm pretty sure they're at $14.99 now. That still might be cheapest. Boutique Hollow was like 1600 or something. I don't know if Colin's still in the chat. Colin, what's your name on YouTube? Bena Fitness Studio. If he's still in the chat, he might be able to get in touch with you because I know he was buying off someone for 1400 Canadian shipped. Granted, that was e-transfer if you're comfortable with that. but talk to him. But if you want to buy on Shopify from a store, I think the best place right now would probably still be Remy. That would be my guess, but maybe there's a cheaper one out there. Maybe. And realistically, end of the day, if you're paying 14, 1500 3 years from now, 5 years from now, it's not going to matter, right? So don't waste a ton of time trying to find a case. Like if you still haven't found one in a week or so, probably better just to bite the bullet and get some exposure. Mito says, I have 30 Ascended Heroes ETBs, tempted to sell and purchase the Pokemon Center one, which I already have 12. So you have 30 regular and 12 Pokemon Centers. I think that's a fine split. I think it's fine. It's such a new product, too. Just let it run, man. Let those ETBs run. 3 cases worth of PC versions, too. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Alrighty. Guys, I think I'm going to skip over. If it's a comment, I apologize. I'm probably going to skip over it. If it's a question, I'll try and get through every question. I want to get through every question. And again, we're quite far behind. So shorter answers now. We'll try and pump through this. Unlimited 18 asks, will 151 fall back down, or is this a new floor? Am I good to wait, or should I buy? A sealed product, I think, is going to find a new floor for sure. Maybe we see a pullback if a lot of people want to take profits, but I don't think we're going to see what we were at like 3 months ago. It's probably just not going to happen. Look for the next question after that. Am I named after Dick Grayson from Batman? No, I'm not. I was actually named after a female character in some show from like the 90s or something. Apparently. Apparently that's where I got my name from. Doesn't really make a ton of sense to me, but that's what my parents went with, so it is what it is. But yeah, not off of that guy. I will take this comment too because, I have a heart for people who are from Edmonton. I'm from Edmonton too, but lived in BC most of my life, still in BC. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I like the food in Edmonton, but man, the weather sucks. Weather sucks. And where I live too, like it was honestly a little bit dangerous. Like there were multiple times I lived really close to, well, I lived in Grandin the first year I was there, which was basically like the first stop heading north on the LRT from the university, like right across the river. I love that area. That was beautiful. Um I would probably buy an apartment in that area, honestly. Like I genuinely enjoy Grandin. After that, I moved up near Stadium, so I was right where the Eskimos play. They're not called the Eskimos anymore, but I'm always going to call them the Eskimos. That's an interesting part of town. It's more dangerous up there. There were multiple times I'd be walking to the Save-On and I'd see people fighting, like genuine, like in the street fighting, just so weird. One time I was at the stadium platform going to class, and like this is burned into my memory. There were 2 teenagers, a girl and a boy. One was on a bike. The boy was on the bike. The girl was carrying a TV. I learned after the fact they were brother and sister. And they had just got kicked out of their home. And I didn't know this at the time. I was just watching from the platform. The brother like punched his sister in the face and she went down. And I'm on the platform watching this unfold. And he's beating on her, man. And I run off the platform, call 911, like the police. You have to, if you're at the stadium LRT, you have to go down the stairs and then come up the other side. I get up there. There's like 50 people just waiting for the buses watching this. Like no one's doing anything. And it's the weirdest thing because coming from a fairly small town, that shit would not fly around here. Like you'd have people jump in and help, and maybe not anymore. Like maybe Canada's just changed that much, but I don't know, man. It was a really unenjoyable experience to be a part of. But yeah, Edmonton's not a place that, especially if you're like, honestly, and I know if you're not comfortable living in a big city, Edmonton's not a place I would go. I'll leave it at that. Depressing at times for sure, even outside of the weather. On a funner note, Jollibee's in here. Hot Pot had that last weekend turn out. Dude, Hot Pot is so goated. It's one of those things where a lot of Western people, Canadians, Americans, probably have never had Hot Pot. Hot Pot is something you gotta experience. That and Korean barbecue, man. Like other cultures have fire food, and we need to learn. We need to accept that there's more to life than just hamburgers, French fries, poutine. Granted, American barbecue is probably one of the best things you could ever have. Like barbecue in general is fire, but yeah, we can learn a lot from other cultures for sure. Marco asks, how many countries have you lived in? Um, I mean, it depends on what you mean by lived, like how long I've spent there. I'm from Canada. I've lived here most of my life. Obviously been to the States, but I've never lived there. Like it would just be visits and stuff. Italy, I was in as a kid. We were there for almost a month. So does that count? I don't know. Greece, I went to Greece for about a week on the same trip. Technically, we stopped in Amsterdam, flyover, layover, whatever. I lived in Costa Rica for a month. That was great. And then I've lived in Colombia for almost a year worth of time. It's like 3 months on and off a few times. I love it there. The only thing I hate about Colombia is that it's not as safe as Canada. And Canada's getting worse by the year, by the way. So it's like, the rate we're going in the West within like a decade, it'll probably be the same level of security, honestly. And especially too, if you live in Bogota or some of the nicer cities, larger cities, are cheaper than being in Canada or the States. And if you're in those areas, it's still fairly safe, like much safer than the average part of the city. So yeah, that's really the only places I've lived: Colombia, Costa Rica, and Canada. And I've been to other parts of the world, but I really wouldn't consider myself having lived there. There are lots of places I do still want to go. I I wanted to go to Taiwan for a year after I finished my degree. That was my plan, at least before COVID kind of threw a wrench in the work. So I'd love to get there. Japan, Korea as well. Like I'd love to live in those places for at least a month and just see it. Honestly, even China, like before COVID, that was a place I wanted to go. Um, we had the issue with like the two Michaels in Canada. I don't want to get into that on stream, but the two Michaels that were held there, it's probably the least desirable of those four countries that I'd want to live in. But I think just the culture and the fact that I was learning Mandarin for a really long period of time, it was somewhere I wanted to go. But yeah, outside that, a lot of Europe I wanna live in as well. There's so many parts of the world, man. Not enough time. So unfortunate, but I said I was gonna do short answers. That was way too long of an answer. This is not good. There's someone probably asking a question right now, just pissed that I'm not gonna get to it. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try my best here. Question: Ascended Heroes ETB cases versus booster boxes of Sword and Shield other than Fusion Evolving. I'm probably just picking Ascended. That's my short answer, not really thinking too in depth about it. Another Ascended Heroes wave of ETBs on the way. I believe so, right? They're doing two waves. That might already be here by now, or maybe like next week or something, but I thought that was coming fairly shortly after wave one. On the CC, no, yeah. Don't leverage, guys. Do not leverage. Zuko, I see your comments. I read it. I'm gonna skip over it though. We're gonna keep going. Let's see. Question from Hector. If the TCG market crashed tomorrow, which cards in your collection would you still hold for 5 to 10 years? And por qué? Well, I don't have any cards. The only card I have in terms of slabs or singles is the Law manga. TCG market crash tomorrow. If everything was down 50%, I'd probably just hold everything. Realistically, right? Like, this is money I don't need. So for me, I'd probably just hold the vast majority. I mean, maybe there'd be some things I'd sell, but um and maybe it's easy to say that just because of the market we're in. Like if there was full scale crash, everyone forgot about TCGs, maybe it's a different conversation, but I'd like to think I would just keep everything, you know. I'd punch punch the table a few times and be annoyed with the market crash, but then maybe I'd pull a Rudy, throw it all in a closet or a bathroom and just forget about it. I think that's the play to go. Oh, you say sealed right after it, so yeah. Okay, question 6,200 for a case of 13. I feel like I answered that already. It's not a terrible price. I don't think it's going to get hit too much harder. Debating between 2 Ascended ETB cases and Prismatic Bundle case. What's your opinion? I'd probably go with the Ascended cases because sealed cases, I think, are just going to get more expensive as time goes on. That's my guess. Can you recommend cases or places to get cases in Canada? I buy a lot of new stuff. Remy Card Trader, HPW, Cardboard Hero, Hobbiesville, obviously. I do have affiliate links to Hobbiesville and Cardboard Hero. So if you guys are shopping on those platforms, I appreciate y'all using the affiliate links. Also, we've been going for almost 2 hours. If you guys enjoy the content, I really appreciate it if you leave a like. Helps out a ton. A bunch of useful links in the description too if you guys want to work with me this year. I'm going to start shilling probably the mentorship program more. We got some interesting things going on there, lining up a couple guests. So yeah, lots of useful links in there too. Rar, you made alive. Thank you, man. I'll throw your comment in there. Appreciate you. Question, thinking about selling some Celebrations products to afford a case of Ascended ETBs. Do you think that's a good sell to buy Ascended case, or should I wait till the 30th? I think Celebrations has pumped a lot. My guess would be a decent amount of its gains are already caked in for the year. Because I think even last year, right, there was a lot of anticipation for the 30th anniversary. People were buying Celebrations then. So I don't hate it. I still have my PCTB, but that's something that I'm just being lazy and not planning to list. So when I get around to that, I'll probably move it too. So yeah, I don't hate it. I think it's fine. Damn, we keep winning. Yes, we do keep winning for sure. 100%. 100%, David. I will take this comment. Alex is comparing apples to oranges. TPCI had fairly consistent overall supply, but SV era entry point easier for more consumers now. Future value of SV booster box is already baked into current price. Maybe I shouldn't have taken this one. This is kind of long to process. Fairly consistent supply. I mean, they definitely are printing more cards now. And I think a lot more of it seemingly is coming in different products, not just in booster boxes. Like we haven't really seen a massive booster box reprint like we did with Lost Origin, Silver, Fusion, Battle Styles. So is it comparing apples to oranges? I'm not sure I'd agree with that. Future value is already baked into current prices too. I'm also not sure I agree with that either. But we're trying to move fast. Sorry. If you ask this in another live stream, I'll think about it a lot longer. But I do want to try and get to most of these questions before we get out of here. So sorry about that. I'm not trying to, disrespect your commentary. I'm not even saying you're wrong, right? It's something I need to think more about. Profit, are there customs fees when importing one-piece cards from US to Canada? Bandai cards are made in Japan, so I'm not sure. I'm not entirely positive either. I've actually not imported anything from the States in like a year and a half. I know taking stuff from like Singapore, parts of Europe, no fees, but the US, I can't speak to that, unfortunately. That's probably a question for ChatGPT or maybe Reddit. What do you think about the One Piece college basketball promo? I hate it. I think it's trash. It looks like a newspaper. There's so much writing on it. Some people like it though, so hey, teach their own, right? Who am I to tell you what you should like and not like? But for me, not something I'd buy. Mo Life is in here. Grayson, with still no DR, reprinted booster boxes. What's your opinion on the bundles? I like the bundles. I think they're cheap. I bought a case of them. Probably should have bought a couple cases, honestly. And maybe I'll buy another case down the road. I do think generally the booster box is going to outperform the bundle. But when there's a massive price discrepancy in terms of price per pack between the box and the bundle, maybe at this point it makes sense to go with the bundles. Let's look for some more questions. Question here from C Macho. Do you think Prismatic SBC is still a good buy at the current market? And you see it surpassing 151 UPC, knowing the fact that they both have God packs. That's an interesting one. I I doubt it surpasses the 151 UPC because 151 UPC, I mean, 151 in general is going to be a very difficult set to pass. You have great promos though with the Mew and Mewtwo in there. I do like the Eevee, but I think the promos in the 151 UPC are better. And is it still a good buy at current price? I don't think it's the well, is it the best buy? Probably not, honestly. Like maybe bundles make more sense at these prices. Tough to tell. There were still rumors too of those SPCs getting restocked at Sam's Club. I don't know what's going on there, if that's even going to be a thing. I would buy one if I didn't have one. But I like these a lot more than when they were like 200 bucks. But they could still be $750 in the future in that range. So could they double in the next 5 years? Yeah. Is it the best buy? I don't know. We did see something come in here too, a starred message. I can't even tell if it's a super chat. So that was 431. I'll make a note of that. Drew with another question. Blizzard UPC price cap. Where do we stop buying? I've stopped buying these already. I think if you're buying them now, you're probably still gonna see it double up in the next few years, right? So it's still a very safe buy. For me, the fact that I have, I think 8 at this point, I'm fine with that. Some people want 30, 40, 50. If that's you, keep going. But for me, they do take up a lot of space. And that's me saying that now having like storage external to what I have in my office. It's something where even I need to start thinking about being more space efficient. And that's why it's going to suck having to get 250, 300 ascended ETBs if that's ultimately what ends up happening. But yeah, I think it depends on a lot of things. How much space you have, what your time frame is. Are you trying to optimize or do you just want a safe product that's going to double in 5 years? A lot of questions there. Go back up a little bit here. Adam one asks, when buying an OP case, how do you determine it's legit? Thinking of ordering from Slab Sharks. Yeah, so I don't have anything special to tell you. What I do is I just look at photos on eBay and make sure like all the text lines up, fonts line up. I think Big Ace, I really want to interview him for my One Piece channel. I gotta hassle him again. He made, and say whatever you think about Big Ace, but he made a video on Instagram talking about how the cardboard under the clear tape could be a different color if it's been like ripped off before and reapplied. So that's something you could look for. But yeah, I mainly just make sure like the text is lined up, everything looks good, fonts the same, all of that. So that's what I do. I know some people have again tried to get like microscopes inside there to confirm, but if you're buying online, you can't really do that. So yeah, that's really all you can do, and just make sure you're buying from a legit source. But if you're buying from Slab Sharks, they've probably done due diligence. Oh, I can't even speak anymore, guys. Due diligence. So you're probably good to go if you're buying through them. Question here too. Oh, Drew, we actually just took this one, I think. Kind of framed a different way. At what price point do you think the Blizzard UPCs are your personal cap? Yeah, so for me, dude, you own 33 at 124 average. That's insane. That's a great price to be paying. I think that's probably a good price to stop at. Like, do you really want to DCA up on these? Having that information, that context, yeah. Like I stopped buying these too. I don't know. Would I rather pay 180 for these or buy ascended ETBs at $100? That's kind of how I'm thinking about it now. Baguettes are the 151 bundle displays actually a good buy right now. The booster bundles are going for 175. The premium for the display does not feel significant. I don't think you're going to have a crazy premium on these for a long, like maybe 10 years from now, there'll be a massive premium as there's not that many out there. But even Walmart, right? If you ordered back in like December 2024, January 2025, they would send you sealed displays. At least I got mine through Walmart sealed. So I think there's still a decent amount out there. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough to tell. Tough to tell, really. You know, I always recommend too, if you can find 10 from a store like Hobbiesville, just send them a message and ask if they'll send a sealed display. Because I did that like a month and a half, 2 months ago, and they sent me a sealed display. So that's what I recommend doing instead of paying a premium on bundles. Thoughts on Phantasmal Flames? I'm convinced it's a monster. Yeah, I think it's a good set for sure. I have a couple booster bundles in the mail, no boxes yet, so that's my very, very small position, but hopefully in the future, I'll be able to buy more. I do like it. And that Charizard card is like the card, in my opinion. It's great. Jacob, I see your comment too. Edgar Allan Poe showed the other day. Look down and collector and was shocked to see. Thank you for the videos. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Okay, we get on tomorrow. Yeah, whenever I do another live and I have time to think through things deeply, I'm not an hour behind chat for sure. We're getting close to 40 minutes now. We're catching up. New episodes of the live action. Yeah, I think that dropped. Wasn't it today at midnight? I think it was today at midnight that it dropped, right? Or is it like a new episode each week? I think, or did they drop it all this week? Like right now. I thought it was today, though. I thought it was today. I'm going to have to go double check after. I want my vote back. Great name and profile pic. Great channel. Can you talk a bit about how and when you got started Pokemon investing collecting? Thank you, by the way, for watching, supporting. Appreciate it. I started getting into this space probably like middle of 2023. I'd always been a fan of Pokemon. And then I started watching. I got back into Pokemon like 2019, early 2019. I watched Sun and Moon, the anime in Mandarin. That was like one of the ways I was learning is just watching like child shows, and that was one of the ones I chose. But I didn't start buying stuff until middle of 2023. I think I bought some like Shining Fates ETBs, like nothing crazy. End of 2023, after watching like a bit more Nostalgianomics, Pokeoz, some of the other guys that were around at that time, I bought a ton of like Sword and Shield stuff. So Fusion Strike boxes, Brilliant. I still have most of my Brilliant, surprisingly enough. Astral, Lost Origin, little bit of Silver, Chilling Reign. That's really when I went all in, end of 2023. And then early 2024, I was visiting my wife, then girlfriend at the time, in Colombia. And while I was there, I actually started watching Vapor Self at the time. His videos were coming up. And I thought, if this guy can do this, like I could do this too. And I didn't have a camera at the time, not one that I could have used to record. So I just screen grabbed. I had a microphone with me on vacation. So I kind of just did the same thing. That's how the channel started. And the rest is history. Kind of just grew from there. So that's the quick story and how I got into it. Do you think Sword and Shield sets will have a crazy boom this year again, or will just slowly grow from here? I don't know. Like, it could go either way. We could see slow growth, but I feel like generally things kind of move in bumps. So it's like every year, every 2 years, or every 6 months, whatever, there's a big spike. Everything goes up 50, 60%. I wouldn't be shocked if we see that eventually again with Sword and Shield era. Those boxes are getting older. There's less of them out there. So that's coming eventually. Considering DR is getting high, thoughts on sealed Japanese? I would never invest in Japanese. Not for me. And maybe there's plays there, but it's just not something that I want to invest in. Frosted mini wheats or corn pops? Mini wheats all day. 100%. Shreddies with maple syrup for sure. Yeah, that sounds real fucking good. Holy cow. That's super Canadian too. Cereal profit. Yeah, maybe that'll be the next channel. Investing in cereal. Let's see if there are more questions here. I see a question mark, so we'll take this. Is there a scenario where they print Ascended like Black Bolt White Flare? I mean, I guess there is a scenario, right? But it's going to be probably the most popular set of this year. Maybe there's some, I mean, maybe 30th is more popular, but this really is a banger. So I think there's going to be a lot of it printed. If they don't print a lot of it though, great. I'll be seeing gains probably even quicker than that. So super happy there. Do you know Alex from Curiosity Incorporated? I don't. I have no clue who that is. Question: I'm doing my own research and methodology in addition to yours. Your recent S tier list just supported my own on one piece. Hence, I traded one of my 13 boxes for 4 pieces of 14. Your thoughts? I think it's fine. I hate moving my S tier sets. So selling 13 to buy 14, and I get you're going 1 for 4, but it's one of those things where like it's tough to get rid of like the best set in one piece. DC from the EVs in here. What's up, man? Are regular Evo Skies ETBs undervalued in your opinion? If so, why do you think that is? Aside from them not having promos, of course. I don't even know what they're going for right now, honestly. If I had more time right now, if I wasn't trying to catch up on chat, I would look what the prices are and stuff. There were a lot of these that went through Costco's and I feel like other retail stores, so maybe that's playing a role in it. And I think too, just like it's an ETB from the Sword and Shield era. So not having that promo does play a big role. Like I know you said aside from that, but I do think that's a big factor in the fact that there were a lot of these in Costco bundles and stuff. But maybe they are just fairly valued. I can't imagine anything evolving is currently undervalued, right? Best set of Sword and Shield era, 4.5, almost 5 years after release. Tough to say it's undervalued. You think sealed display of 151 will be after rotation? No clue. I don't think that 151 is going to keep running. I think it's probably going to slow down. Eventually, any other places to follow for us in Alberta? Taps Games. If you're in Edmonton, is Taps in Calgary or Edmonton? I can't remember, but Taps Games and HPW are probably your best bets in Alberta. I not sponsored or anything. I love buying from HPW because every time I purchase from them, they've always double boxed and they've done a great job like void filling and just making sure you get good product that's in great shape. So I've always tried to support them when I can. They also have like the 1% back that you get in store credit when you buy. So, 2% credit card, 1% shop cash, 1% store credit. It does add up. So yeah, them and Taps Games. Taps generally are overpriced, but sometimes they'll have deals. Like they had prismatic ETBs for like 150 a month ago or something. It was kind of a weird sale that they run. So you can check them sometimes. Um when do you think people are going to wake up and put their money in Sword and Shield? I don't know if they're ever going to wake up and put their money in Sword and Shield. Tough to say. I think the older things get, less and less people are going to be able to buy them as they get more expensive. But from an investment perspective, maybe it's going to be the next thing to pop. We'll see. Tomorrow, I have to do the Sword and Shield update in the spreadsheet. So if boxes are moving, that'll kind of be a sign to me that maybe there's new interest around that. But time will tell. We'll know in less than 24 hours what I think of the Sword and Shield market. Love Peace Progress. What do you think about ponchos? I think they look cool. I have no strong feelings about them. Not something I would invest in either. But again, like I'm basically 100% sealed, right? So it's just not something that I know. I'm not in that realm. I get some of them are very expensive, but it's not for me. Question: would you be surprised if prismatic booster packs are 200 or over in 10 to 14 years? A decade to almost a decade and a half. That's a long period of time. No, I wouldn't be surprised if they're there in a decade. I don't think so. I don't think so. What is your price prediction for 151 bundles by summertime? I don't know. I think that first of all, I don't actually track bundles. That's like the one sealed item I don't currently track. The reason for that, a lot of them are just really cheap, so I didn't want to do it in the spreadsheet, which is maybe an oversight. But I think 151 is going to slow down a little bit. I think just summer in general tends to be a little bit slower of a time in the hobby. So let's say what are they right now? 160? Let's say 160, 165. I think they're going to stagnate for a bit. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope they jump to 700 and I can sell them all. But yeah, I think 151 is going to slow down. Question: I'm picking up Ascended Premium Poster Collection 650 a case, 6 boxes per case. So it's over 100 per collection. Is that a good play? Matt, I actually don't know how many packs are in those. Like I haven't looked at those. I generally hate collection boxes and ancillary products just because they tend not to perform as well. Poster collections, just collections in general tend to be bigger too. I hate shipping them. So that is stuff that I personally avoid. Guys, we're almost caught up on chat too, by the way, which is great. Jonesing for some cereal and a walk. Y'all let this man go. I actually don't have any cereal in the house right now, but we're going shopping today. Probably after dinner, I think. So my wife is throwing me notes under the door. I think she's hungry too. But yeah, I'm gonna buy some cereal, mini wheats or something. Just way too hungry right now. By the way, don't go shopping if you're hungry. That's a guaranteed way to spend more money. But I think even before I was hungry today, I knew I was gonna buy some cereal. Pokeplane's in here. Yo, what's up? Glad I could catch your stream live. Thank you, man. Appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, we're winding down here, just catching up on chat, which is great. And we're gonna have to do this again. I do have a special guest coming Monday. So Monday night, probably I can't remember what time, 6 p.m. PST, maybe. It's gonna be a later stream for sure, but it's gonna be a good one. I have to message the person on Instagram to get a photo to make a thumbnail, but once I make the thumbnail, I'll like make the stream link so it'll be live active. Everyone will know at that point. So that'll hopefully come in the next couple days here, but excited to be doing that. Our Pris bundle still a buy at 70 to 75. I think Prismatic in general, if you have like a 5-year outlook, you should just keep buying. I've slowed down buying Prismatics. I started buying Ascended and I only have so much money. But if I had infinite dollars, I would probably buy Prismatic still as well. How do you have a website? How do I get what? I'm not sure. Do I have a website? I do have a website, pokeprofit.ca. I don't sell product or anything though. It's just a blog. So if you guys want to go read some of the articles, there is some blog posts up there. For me, I kind of just did it as a way to test it out and see if it was a thing. And honestly, I think if someone optimized a blog in this space, they could do very well. Like I I'm getting a decent amount of monthly views on that, and my website's horrible. Like I made it all in a couple days. I had no expertise in doing that. Like I watched a couple YouTube tutorials. So I think if someone who really knew what they were doing in terms of SEO and blogs, and they were putting out blogs every single day, it honestly might even be a more profitable thing than doing YouTube, making videos. It might be just because one, you can get ad revenue. I think like 10 to $20 if you're in certain programs on your website. Like Google AdSense, I think those ads are terrible, but there's other companies you can work with once you get to a certain level. So you can get like a legit amount of money per 1,000 views on a blog, and then also affiliate revenue too. Like I think that's something we're gonna see more people do. It's just different forms of media. I think in the space it's very YouTube dominant, but in the future, I wouldn't be shocked if you saw a couple blogs pop up. Uh, Does that have a question mark? It doesn't, so I'm gonna skip over it. Question from Archangel. Is it worth investing in single Ascended Heroes ETBs if you can't get your hands on sealed cases? 100%. 100%. Do sealed cases have that much of a premium? Generally, what we've seen is as sets get older, there is a premium. So prismatic cases right now, premium. Hidden Fates, premium. 151, premium. Somewhere between 10 and 20%. Now, out the gate, should you pay a premium for cases? Probably not, unless it's like 1%, 2%. I'd be fine with that. But loose ETBs are great too. the general CAGR numbers on loose ETBs versus bundles, you're still doing better with ETBs generally. It's not always going to be the case, but for the most part, it has been. So yeah, like if you only have money for a couple loose ones, or you can only find loose ones, absolutely fine, 100%. HBW goated, yeah, like they do very good business. I wish they had an affiliate program or something, because I would love to promote a lot of their deals that they have and stuff, but I can't remember if I reached out to them or not. I reached out to a lot of companies in Canada that I worked with. And like Cardboard Hero let me in their program, which is awesome. Hobbiesville, you don't even have to get approval. You can just sign up. And those are great companies. But yeah, HPW, generally they have good prices and they do a very good job shipping. So that's why I go with them. Grayson, what we thinking of RB? What we thinking of RB now? RB. Jolly, are you still watching? What is RB? Royal Blood? RB. Let me know what you mean by RB if you're still watching. This was 6 minutes ago, so I'm assuming you're still here. Ah, Riftbound. Okay. I haven't looked any deeper into Riftbound. Yeah, I haven't looked any deeper yet. I heard there was an Origins reprint coming, or maybe it's being delayed another month or something. So I should actually ask my guy in Europe. I met a dude who owns a store in Slovenia. Super smart dude. Really cool. He said he'd sell me Riftbound at distro price. That was like way too generous. If there's more Riftbound coming, or Origins coming, excuse me. But yeah, it's something I'm still keeping an eye on for sure. Still keeping an eye on it. Have you bought some, Jolly? I need to do more research. It's just every day is just so packed already. Like I get up, do consults, do the spreadsheet, make a video, 2 videos sometimes, right? Try and fit in lives. Like I only have so many hours, but it's something I do want to get more into for sure. And just see if it's viable. Maybe it won't be, but it looks pretty promising. Question part 2. The play that I'm trying to execute is that people will freak out when the reprint comes in June. I will sell the OP14 boxes then. Yeah, see, like, Ivy, this is something I disagree with. I think a lot of the people who you think are going to freak out have already freaked out. That box went from $700 to $475, right? So it dropped basically overnight. The thing, too, is that we don't know how much product's coming. So there is a scenario where those boxes could probably drop to $200 if we got a massive reprint, but I don't think we're going to get a massive reprint. We could though. So there is a potential scenario where this works out for you, and I hope it does. But I think at the same time, a lot of that reprint anticipation is already caked into the price. The Eggman, Phantasmal Flames Master Set, or what sealed Ascended Heroes product would you buy? I'm not a fan of buying master sets as an investment. Not something I would ever touch. Ascended PCTBs are great if you want to go that route. I'm generally less bullish on PCTBs than most people. Regular ETBs are great. ETB cases are awesome. The product that I'm hoping I can get, because I don't know for sure I'm going to be able to get my hands on it. If there are master cases of the bundle displays, I'll probably buy one of those. And that'll be coming from Singapore more than likely off my contact. Maybe Europe too. I saw someone comment the other day, those were like 350 euros pre-order, which seemed insanely cheap to me. I feel like they're probably more expensive now, but yeah, that's a product I'd like to have, because I didn't get those bundle displays for Black Bolt White Flare. I didn't get them for Prismatic. I have some for 151, but I'd like to get them for Ascended. Load up on Pris bundles for 60. Yeah, man, you're buying 33% below market. That seems like a pretty good deal. That seems like a no-brainer. And, $10 a pack in a sealed product for Prismatic, that seems fine. Those packs are going to be $20, $30 in the future. I don't think anyone's disagreeing with that. So yeah, seems like a good buy. Question: Do you or anyone you know? Do you or anyone know anyone in general? I guess maybe chat. Where to get acrylic cases for booster bundle cases of 25? Okay, guys, I'm gonna make a video, and I don't mean to insult you. I'm not trying to insult you. I think acrylics are one of the most overhyped things in the entire hobby. I never understood when I look at people's walls and they've spent probably $1,000 on acrylics for like 20, 30 boxes, 50 boxes, whatever. Like you could literally have bought another case of booster boxes for the amount of money you spent on acrylics. I have 3 acrylics. I have an Evolving Skies acrylic for each box, so that's 2. And then my Romance Dawn blue bottom box, I have an acrylic for. Even the white bottom, which is like 2K, I don't have an acrylic. Maybe I should, but a lot of this stuff is in storage now in a different place where it's climate controlled. It's not going to move. They're in the original manufacturer boxes, right, of cardboard. They're going to be fine. They're not going to get damaged. Okay. So for me, I would never spend money on something that isn't going to move for years. Like it just doesn't make sense. Um, that's just my opinion. But again, if you disagree, you want acrylics for everything. If you're moving it around two more, I understand. Like if you're vending or you're planning to, I don't know, move homes every couple years, whatever it is, I get it. But for most people, if you're investing, I think acrylics are just so overrated. That might be a very hot take. Just have a few boxes of Origins, and I did get the Hobbiesville Spirit Forge discount. Awesome. Yeah, I'd like to get more Origins. I think if that reprint knocks the price down a decent amount, I probably will buy a little bit more. There's just so many good deals in Pokemon right now. Like it's tough to justify going down the ladder in terms of risk profile when like the blue chip TCG is giving you a set like Ascended. It's very difficult to justify going any deeper. Did we have We did have a super chat come in from Chino. Keep going with content, bro. Black Bolt ETB tough. Bro, now I feel bad bashing on you for the acrylic thing. And look, that's just my opinion, right? It's just my opinion. But I do think like if you're not moving stuff super often, probably better just leave it in the cardboard. Like ETB cases, if it's a sealed case, it's probably going to be sold sealed anyways. Not to worry about it. It's the same thing with the booster bundle cases. If it's sealed, you're going to sell it as a sealed case. Not really worth protecting anyways, because the vast majority of those people buying that are going to be cracking it open anyways, right? Like nobody's buying a booster box case or a booster bundle case or an ETB case to display the case in their home, right? They're not going to be like, hey guys, look at this really cool thing. Most of those people buying it are going to be like rip and shippers or other investors and stuff like that. So to me, it's not the end of the world if you don't have acrylics for those things. But I have tons of boxes that are $500 to $1,000. They just don't move. And it's like the sealed cases from distro. If you've ever opened a sealed case of booster boxes from distro, those boxes are in great shape. So it's like if you're just not moving the product, you're probably going to be fine. Austin, Austin's in here, but I like looking at dude. I get it. I get it, man. This is me, Austin. I don't care about this stuff, man. I don't. I just want to see the graph go up. Okay. I'll look at brown cardboard. I'm fine with it. So I get it though. I absolutely get it. Let's see. One more question here. Then we'll get out of here. This has been a long live. From Omara. What do you think about Sword and Shield top chases? Are there any you think are particularly underrated? For example, Sleepy, T-Tar, Machamp V, etc. Wow. I like a lot of the top chases. I mean, the fact the Moonbreon's like a $2,000 card, I think is great. Is Pokemon, even the Mewtwo being like $400 in Destin Rivals or 500 now, whatever it is. It's great, but it's $500. Like, there's a huge difference between pulling a $500 card versus a $5,000 card. So I like the top chase in Sword and Shield. I like the Gengar too, the Giratina. I think their artworks are amazing. The Lugia as well. Love the artworks. Do I think any are underrated? I don't know. I think most people agree those cards are great. So it's hard for me to say they're underrated. I do really like the T-Tar though. That's something that doesn't get a lot of love just because it's in battle styles. Um, yeah, I really like the Chilling Rain cards too. I know a lot of people don't like the Blaziken. They don't like the Moltres. I love the Moltres, by the way. I think it's an amazing card, but yeah, I think most of the Sword and Shield era is fairly rated. Acrylics for ETBs, booster boxes, just by case. That's David. That's how I'm trying to go with it. Move on. And people value different things. Ultimately, end of the day, and that's really what is the most important thing. So, guys, we've been going 2.5 hours. It's been a pleasure. Thank you all for being here. There's still 170 people in here as I'm wrapping up. If you guys want to work with me, a bunch of useful links in the description as always. Mentorship program, consults, market spreadsheet. If you guys really value the data, me and Austin are working on something too. Mainly Austin. He approached me with some very cool resources that we could potentially put together based on my spreadsheet and turn it into a web page or something. So that'll be fun if we get around to that. Thank you guys so much for watching this. As always, stay safe wherever you are in the world. I'll catch you in the next one. We're out.